Hello, everybody. If it's Wednesday, it's Warhammer. So it must be time for another episode of Warhammer Weekly. I'm blown away today because it's ridiculous. This is the first time in many months we've seen something brand new. I know my co-host is excited. My prediction already came true. Tom, how you doing?
Hello, friends.
There you go. My prediction, by the way, if we all remember, some time back when we were talking about this release. By the way, I hope everybody can hear me okay. I have a new mic tonight. Tell me if this doesn't sound bad or doesn't sound good or whatever. If it's not coming through normally. It looks like it is, but I don't know. Anyway, a couple weeks back or a month ago or some time ago, I said, so Tom, what do you think about this upcoming Goblin release? And you were like, I don't really care. Even though Tom had like a Savage Goblin army and liked Spider-Fang and really loved it, and he was like wishy-washy. Tom, would you like to tell me what you were talking about before the show started?
I mean, that I may buy models.
Yeah, sure, may. You were pricing out stuff already and putting together armies. I don't even want to hear it. So, maybe. Yeah. Okay. Yep. The goblin's got a hold of him. The mushrooms are in his brain now. There's nothing else we can do. So there we go.
I mean, Merry Gitmas, folks.
Yeah, indeed. So yes, first off, obviously, welcome everybody. I hope everybody had a happy or Merry Christmas or whatever, if that's what you celebrate. It was certainly very nice. I think next year it's on Wednesday, by the way, Tom. I already looked ahead to next year in the calendar, and next year Christmas is on Wednesday. So, you might want to plan ahead with the wife for that now. Just saying.
So you're saying we don't get a pass for the show?
That's correct. The show still happens even if Christmas is on a Wednesday. That's right. Okay. That's right.
I'll pass that on to my wife. We'll see how that goes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But at any rate, that's next year. Let's get to the news. And, I want to touch on just a small item or two first. We confirmed that the new that skirmish is going to get its updated like rules or whatever pack in the January White Dwarf. It's nothing big. They just they're showing the getting started boxes and saying like this stuff's good for skirmish, and they have like a small updated thing to bring skirmish into 2.0. So cool.
It's going to be a thing.
That's fine. I mean that it's not. Just give us more time and we can all move on with our lives. Let's all hope for a 2019 or maybe 2020 release of that, and that's fine. And the other thing I wanted to call out before we get into the big news was it's Voxcast, it's 40K, but the newest episode of that podcast has Darren Latham on it, who's a tremendous artist. And, he spent 10 years, I think, on the heavy metal team, and now he's one of the miniatures designers. He does a lot more 40K than he does fantasy miniatures, but he's, an amazing painter, and he just shares a lot of good insights. He's one of my personal hobby heroes. I think he's an absolutely amazing artist. Mm-hmm. And I was showing my wife actually what his wife got for Christmas.
I was going to say this.
Yeah, this is pretty cool. Yeah. So obviously Darren's painted a lot of really amazing miniatures over the years.
Yep.
Many of which have recently won a lot of awards at Golden Demon in the Open contest, which the staff is allowed to submit into and stuff.
Yep. And
his wife actually put together and had printed like a book of the photos of his minis. And I thought that was just the coolest thing in the world. So
yep.
That wasn't me trying to drop a hint to my wife to do the same. I just thought it was really nice.
Hint, Kathy. Hint.
First of all, she's not going to watch this, probably. Secondly, no, I wasn't trying to drop a hint. I just thought it was cool. Okay, so was there any other small items we had in the news, Tom?
No, there are no other small items.
No rumor. Well, the main thing is really a bunch of small items, but they're small in the fun way. There was no rumor engine this week, so let's get right into it, buddy. Boom! Go the goblins. The Gloomspite Gitz.
Oh.
Them Gitz. Gotta get them Gitz.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna pull something up real quick. Actually,
can we just go to the photos? Can we just go to the videotape? I mean, why not?
Yeah, I'm gonna go to all the photos. Hold on.
Okay.
So this whole storm opened up on Monday with a leak.
Well, I mean, yes, of the limited edition cover, but they also put out the teaser trailer on Monday.
Right.
So let me just say something real quick here off the rip while you're bringing up the photos.
Yeah.
This is how you do it.
Yes.
Okay? GW, take note. Good job.
You did good.
Done. You
Yes.
done did it. Okay? So I'll lock on Tom now here. Yeah, so you done did it. Congratulations. This is how you do it. They put up like Marvel style, they made a teaser, and then the next day they had the full trailer, and then the next day, boom, comes not the whole model range even, right? No. They said there's more, but certainly enough to whet our palate. My God, did they give us plenty to chew on.
But wait, there's more.
Right. Indeed. This is how you do it. There is meat on the bone today. This isn't like before. I remember what the last release was we talked about, where we were just like they were stringing us along forever. Yep. All right. This time, we're in it to win it.
Yep. I'm gonna jump around on the photos a little bit as we go through this.
Yeah. Of course.
And so here's the cover for the limited edition. I love Mr. Three Eyes right here.
Gross. He looks gross. So gross.
He just creeping weird. Up. He does look weird, and his like weird mini squig
and his bumpy head. He's just ugh.
He's so nurgly. Shout out to was it Landmine that pointed out that
peanut butter jelly time. Yeah, yes. Give this guy 2 maracas. Yeah,
exactly. And it looks like a banana, folks.
It does look like a banana.
Hint, don't paint that yellow. That won't end well. So we jump in. Let's jump into some actual goblins. So it looks like we have a new fanatic kit, which is super exciting. It'll be a dual build. This is a little bit surprising because this is the first real plastic kit that we've had replaced. Everything else has been metal or fine cast that's been replaced. So this is our first like real plastic replacement kit.
I mean that's not totally true. For a full kit, you mean?
Yeah.
For a full regular kit, because there's been individual characters replaced before.
Right, but we have not had a full replacement of a unit in plastic. This is our first round. And that is
trying to make sure that's absolutely correct, but I think you're right.
I tried to think through it, and
I mean there were plastic fanatics.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
we had a plastic kit previously, and now it is being replaced by another plastic kit.
Okay,
this is the first time we have a plastic kit that has replaced an old.
Yep. I think that's right.
We've had other stuff, but just not plastic kits. That's what I'm. And this is going to be a dual build kit. There's actually 2 different types of units of fanatics.
Stay on this photo though for a second before you switch over, because I want to point out that the back left fanatic is a rumor engine picture.
Yes, this guy right here. That's a rumor engine. Right there.
Yes, right. What you selected is the rumor engine picture. Yep.
We
can take a moment here. I just want to talk about how great these fanatics look.
Yep.
One of them is what is with the guy on the ground in the front, by the way? He's easy to miss. What is with that dude? He just has like a pile of goo in front of him. What happened to him?
He's one of them that impacted. You know how they used to impact and they used to like implode when they would touch things?
Sure.
They're like walls.
Yeah.
I think that's what happened to him.
Gotcha. He's just he's a squished one?
Yes, he's a squished one.
All right.
I don't know. I actually don't know. But he's here. Like, poor guy.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard some people say that the old fanatics were the plastic fanatics were still a pretty good kit. Yeah, I don't disagree. They were a pretty good kit. I think these are over the moon though. Like these are so good. And by the way, I honestly didn't intend that pun. But like really, these are fantastic. And that being said, good that the old one's still valid. Like okay. Yep. Like there's clearly 2 types now, which I think was smart, right? Because so even if you have a bunch of the old fanatics, cool. I think those are still perfectly valid as this type of fanatic. Like this is clearly the inheritor of the traditional fanatic, and then now we can flip to the other fanatic type.
Here's the other one, and it's like they swing around like squigs.
Like they're fungal squig bombs, because what's going to happen is
they'll blow up.
They'll blow up. Yeah, when you hit it, clearly explodes in some kind of poison, weird gas thing. Yeah,
which is fantastic. I just love it. I love all of it. Speaking of squigs, we have our new squig unit. I anticipated that. So that was a dual kit that we just saw. The 2 different types of fanatics. I anticipated that we would have 2 different types. Like we would have a dual kit between the squigs and the squig riders, but that does not appear to be the case. They look like they are 2 completely independent kits.
Which I think actually makes a lot of sense because, I mean, if you just think about the sort of positioning and stuff you would need for the riders, I don't know that we've ever really had a solid dual kit, like maybe way back in the day, but I can't even. I'm not sure I can think of one of a solid dual kit between a mounted and non-mounted option being in one box. Now, that would normally because the horse wouldn't be alone and the rider would have like these bow legs if he was, if he wasn't on the horse. This is slightly different because it's the horse we're interested in that's the kit, right? Not the rider.
Right.
But nonetheless, it doesn't surprise me. So here we see the same herder, basically, not exactly the same model, but the same, like thematically similar.
Yep.
To the one
there are actually 4 variants on the herder. I don't know if I have so one thing in the video that showed there are a bunch of it actually showed like a flip through of the book. And if you go really slow, you can actually see there are 4 variants of these guys.
Sure.
Of the herder. There's these 2. There's a guy with 2 symbols. It's all these clearly harken back to the other Squig herder models.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
Shout outs to the spiny Squig up here.
Yeah.
A nice call out to the horn Squig from Warhammer, Age of Reckoning, the MMO.
Yeah.
Obviously, this guy echoes that as well with the Squig inside, or the goblin inside the Squig.
Yeah, sure.
Dude's having a bad day. And then
or is he having a great day? I don't know.
Who knows? And kudos to the angler Squig up here.
Yeah, the angler.
Just a little angler
lamp.
Yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, we have a spiny Squig over here. I was sad that we didn't see any more gas Squig, like any of the other classic Squigs from Warhammer, Age of Reckoning, like when they did the MMO.
Sure. Yeah, where you had the Squig herder. Yeah. Well, we haven't seen all the kits yet. I'm still hoping we get some kind of big Squig riding goblin dude, like the way you can do with Squig herder.
We will.
Yeah, because I don't think there'll be a new. Maybe they're not. Well, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. But it'd be neat if they were going to redo the Mangler or something like that. It'd be neat if they had the option to do.
I'll show you the images.
That's fine. It'd be neat if what I'm saying is I hope that within that kit, if it in fact comes to pass, right? Yep. Because I know the image you're talking about, and obviously we don't have a clear picture like this of it yet.
Sure.
I hope you have the option, to do like the Squig herder thing, where the goblin mounts up in his Squig armor, right, and goes to town.
Yeah.
I got Squig herder was my jam. That I had, as you well remember, Tom, in War Days, I kept a Squig herder in every tier. I had a 1 to 10, an 11 to 20, a 21 to 30, and a 31 to 40 Squig herder, as well as then just a 40 plus. So you could play one
at every tier. Yeah. No, I remember. I very much remember. Yes. So I'm looking forward to this. Kudos to the other weird creatures that they've done, like the little
the snail. I was gonna shout out the snail thing, whatever he is. Yeah, the
snail with the helmet, skull, shell, and weird.
Yeah, he's in a skull.
Yep, the little mushroom myconoid down here.
Oh yeah, he's got that dude's cute.
Little eyes. Yeah, so they're really leaning into it, is what I would say.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have riders. This right here was a rumor engine as well.
Oh, was that? Oh, yeah, you're right. Yep, it sure was. Yeah, I didn't catch that one. Yes, good call.
And so that was a rumor engine as well. What I would actually point out is look how they really like models that are going to break off their bases easily.
Every time we say that, if the ghosts have made it okay, these guys will be fine.
Well, and again, I say that, I am painting a bunch of Canary right now, and I've never broken one.
Yeah, exactly. No, I've cracked my Sisters of Slaughter off their base, but that's because I took off the rocks that they jump on and literally just glued their toes, their tippy toes.
Yes,
that's the only thing I've ever broken off a base, and I only knocked 2 of those off in the whole tournament, so. It's fine.
But yeah, I love the and you'll notice we get some more horn Squigs.
Sure.
Get another one in here. You'll notice we also get some mouth armored Squigs as well.
Yeah, I like the sort of moon armored Squig. I think he's a good looking one there. Yeah, I'm not sure how much I like the exploding smoke hops. Yes. Those 2, the guy on the very right and the very left, who are bouncing off this mushroom cap exploding smoke thing.
Yep.
But that seems like you could easily just cut that off.
So,
like, what I would do is obviously, I would cut that the heck off because that's dumb. And I would put in like a big rock or something like that. Because you want them very nice to bounce off.
I have those replacements for you. That's
yeah.
gonna be, it's like for those that are interested in Moon Clan or for I don't know, whatever they're called, Moon or Gloomspite. There you go.
Gloomspite Gitz, yes.
I have a that's my shout out this week, and like to fix this type of stuff. For that. So I'll point those out when we get there here in a couple minutes.
Yeah, and my issue with it, just from an aesthetic perspective, is I love the squigs and the way they're jumping. They look very dynamic. I hate the little smoke trail under the leg, as it makes them look like they have, like when you're just sort of lazily looking at it, like when you look at them from a distance.
They're a genie being summoned out of a pot.
Right, or that they have like one really long leg. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of what it looks like.
Yeah, there's not enough differentiation between the toe and the smoke right here.
Right, because it doesn't come out into a big foot or something. It's all a column.
If you like look here from a sculpting standpoint, notice how there's differentiation between the mushroom and the foot.
Sure.
Here you don't get that.
Right. Whereas if that was like a building, right? Like you know what I'm saying? Like a broken down piece of building. Or alternatively, you want to stay in theme, say a sizable mushroom. Right. And then boom, you're in the clear. Totally different story. So
Yep. And we'll get there. I did those already. Let me jump back up here. So let's go to the endless. Where did the spells go? Here we go. They're endless spells. Boom.
Yeah, 4 endless spells.
4
ratcheting it up a notch here.
I called this one.
Everybody knew they had endless spells. Oh, you're saying the bad moon, the curse.
Yeah, like one of them has to be a bad moon. Like it has to. And
I would not say you were alone on that. I heard 17 different people say they thought the bad moon was going to be a spell.
Clearly. So. Did not call the spider swarm.
Yeah, well, that was the big question leading up to this, right? And I mean, I suppose we should have started with that headline. Right. We just jumped right into this and didn't even say that. So the big banner headline here is this is what was previously Moon Clan, the Spider Fang, and Troggoths all put together.
With the occasional Gargant.
Yeah, with the occasional giant, all put together into one, mega faction, Beasts of Chaos, Legion of Nagash style. So reuniting this faction together, and you can see that manifested in 2 of the endless spells quite directly, right? In the Spider Swarm and the Walking Spider Cauldron there. So yeah.
No, I love it. Like wow. Like this.
All I'm saying is I want that Spider Swarm thing to do like almost nothing. Okay. Sure. I just want it to be pretty terrible, like rules wise. Yeah. Except it casts decently far. Let's say you can summon it like up to 12 inches away or something, or 14 or whatever, some big distance, because and whatever. And it does almost no wounds or something. Sure. Who cares? I don't care.
But it blocks.
Right. I want it to be like 20 points because it's just clearly going to be the best wall in the game because it's so long. Like, look how long that is.
It looks like it looks, I mean, I could be wrong here. It looks about as long as the prismatic palisade.
Yeah, maybe it feels a little longer to me, but it feels prismatic, maybe a little longer than that. It's clearly in the palisade
Gravetide. Yeah.
Gravetide, area. Yep. I want this to be cheap and annoying, so it can just be a giant sucking wall of spiders on the battlefield that because you can't walk over it unless you can fly, right?
The irony is that back in 8th, I had made my Squig herd as a swarm of spiders.
Mm-hmm, sure.
And it looks like this. If you look at those bases, it really does. And so the question is when I get this is, do I just take those spiders and pile them up so it's like a wave of spiders?
Depends on what you want to do.
Do I go with the conversion and then just leave these? Because it looks so amazing. Like all of it looks amazing. The other thing I want to call out real quick, man, does this look like a nuclear bomb or what?
It does. It does look like a little bit like a mushroom cloud, which I suspect is the joke. Right. That's not. It's a mushroom with a cloud coming out the top.
Right. It's the mushroom cloud.
They've modeled a mushroom cloud. Yes, right. I believe that's the joke. Yes.
Yeah, it's pretty fantastic.
And they mentioned in the article that not all of these are offensive. That it can also buff their casters. I'm guessing the spider swarm is offensive. It has that feeling.
And the bad moon is probably offensive, and then the cauldron is probably a buff, and this is maybe like a static area buff or something. I don't know.
It feels like it, yes. It feels like the cauldron would be the spellcaster buff, right? Like the thing the wizard summons to help himself.
And this would be like a ward save or something like that.
Yeah, like or something that drives all the goblins nearby into a frenzy, right? Because it releases gas and drives them all crazy with the power of the bad moon or whatever. Whereas the moon, the angry bad moon staring at people feels like it would be the negative cursey one, and the spiders would be the eat people one. That just like feeling, obviously, only we haven't seen any rules for these.
Yep. The big surprise for me, like obviously, like all this is a surprise. This caught me this caught me out. Like I did not see this coming. I mean,
this is fun.
I'm an idiot for not seeing this coming because this is like what our third release since April, like new army release since April, and everyone has had a terrain piece. So I shouldn't be surprised by this, but I just didn't see them getting a terrain piece.
Yeah, I mean, if you look over the year, right? So if we look back, let's run through it hyperspeed. Legion of Nagash has no terrain, has little graveyard markers that aren't real.
Right.
Maggotkin had a tree, so they had a single element.
Yep.
Otters had nothing. Idneth had, boats.
Yep.
Right? And beasts had the Herdstone. And so now goblins get the fungal Bad Moon cave, which is funny because this is basically the cave entrance that was in their like Christmas drawing or whatever art piece that was slowly evolving until the goblins exploded out and burnt down the nice house.
Indeed.
So I thought that was fun.
And this is like not small, by the way. Like if you look at the actual, like in the video, like a full-size goblin comes up to like here.
Oh yeah. I've got a fun image if you want to take a look at it. But we can after you're done.
Hold on. I have some more. Hold on. So here's some individual stuff, and it just looks fantastic. As somebody had kind of called out, it looks like the terrain piece from the Skull Pass. What they're talking about is a tent. There used to be a tent for Skull Pass. I actually have that tent mounted on top of my Arachnarok.
Yeah.
And it does. Only this is a lot bigger. like a lot bigger. Like
it's super cool.
Yeah.
I like the hard edged cut of the stone of the face.
Yeah.
I think that looks really striking. Yeah. It's a super cool terrain piece. Very, very detailed. Crazy detailed.
Yes. I kind of look forward to painting that, but I kind of don't.
I mean, at the same time, I don't suspect it's like whatever. It's a lot of it's just stone and stuff like that. So it's fine.
Right.
Paint your bones, paint your mushrooms, paint your stone. Do your work. You can. What I found is, when I painted the Herdstone, it was actually kind of fun to take a little bit of time on because it is just this one thing, right? That's all you're ever going to do. You're going to do this one thing. You treat it kind of like a centerpiece, right?
Yeah, that's true. Quick other call outs. Here's the Loon King. This is one of the new name characters that we saw in the video, the one that was talking. It looks pretty sweet. I love that this is a mushroom that's grown into the shape of a moon.
Yeah.
You see it right here. It's a nice little ad call out. I love how he's holding his scepter like Miss Universe, somebody had pointed out. You can't see it from this image, but if you jump to the next one, those little squigs, they have like moon-shaped heads.
Yeah, they're pretty amazing. The little squigs that are like his I don't know, like his accompaniment.
Yes.
His dress robe bearers or whatever.
Sure.
Like they're carrying the train of his dress like at a wedding, right? They're my favorite part of this miniature by far. And all it did was make me sad that I haven't seen a Squig kit where you get like these guys at full size. Because like legitimately, I love the look of these Squigs more than even the normal ones. I think that's such a cool. Yeah, something about the pointy nose aesthetic of them.
Well, they're very goblinish. Like you're here.
Yeah. They feel kind of goblin-y Squigs, right? Like they feel like an interesting crossbreed of the two.
Yep.
Which raises the question of what this guy's been up to in his off hours. But nonetheless, I think they're looking good.
They are looking good. Kudos to the continued aesthetic that we saw with the prior shaman, with like the chin and all the stuff, and like the wrought iron that we were seeing previously. Another interesting thing that I've noticed is that like I like consistency, and I'm gonna have to get over that with these. Because like they're mushrooms, like there are a bunch of different types of mushrooms. And like I don't know if you've noticed that or not. Like as you go through these, And like, I don't know if I like that or not. Like, if you look back here, like there are a bunch of different types of mushrooms.
Yeah.
Like it's, I don't
The
know.
world has lots of types.
I know. But I know.
Even if we restrict it to like
I know.
psychedelic mushrooms.
Sure.
There's like a couple dozen varietals just in North America of psychedelic mushrooms. So
thanks, Vince.
I'm just saying, watch Hamilton's Pharmacopoeia. Okay, so there you go.
Sure. Let's do some images from the book. The ones I want to point out initially are, so this one is probably what you're looking here is the Mangler, the new Mangler. Is this double Squig right here?
What makes you think he's new and not just a picture of the old Mangler?
This right here. So here's our next best shot of that same thing. And if you'll notice, look at the mouth and the horn. That is not the old Mangler. I've built and painted those. The teeth were not like this in the old Mangler.
Okay.
So this is a new Mangler.
All right.
I assure you, we are getting a new Mangler, or whatever this kit is. We are getting a new one. And that's probably what this is that Mangler.
Okay.
Yeah, and it does look bigger. It looks, the other was much smaller, and you'll notice, like, look how broad
trying to look at
this
the
is.
profiles on the backpack page. Yeah, no, I get it.
Yeah,
no, it'd be cool. It'd be a cool kit to redesign. The question is, here's the real question: have they redesigned the kit so it's harder to break the 1 into 2 and get 2 Manglers for the price of 1?
That's the real question. That's the one that everybody wants to know. I had another image in here, and I can't find it. I know I had saved it. Where we had actually, like, so there's a silhouette of one, and
is it the centipede silhouette you're looking for?
It is a centipede silhouette, and I don't know where it's disappeared to.
I mean, that's fine. Very clearly on one of the pages.
Here we go. Hold on. I got another one I can share.
Sure. So while you're bringing that up, very clearly on one of the pages, you can see that centipede. Yes, like that's very fuzzy, but you can still see the direct.
That is a centipede shape right there. Mm-hmm. By the way, you have your new trolls over here. One is clearly a harken back to the troll from Skull Pass. Right there.
Okay.
The rock thrower, because the old Skull Pass troll had a broken dwarf statue that he was throwing, but he was small. Like, he would never fill out like a full base, and with the size that these are probably going to be, this is probably a new troll kit, which is what we're anticipating. So that'll be exciting. But yes, that's the centipede right there. And then do you see that shape? We got that in our brain?
Sure.
Let me jump back to here, and you can actually see probably a small version of this. Sorry, I'm super excited about this.
No, it's fine. It's the guy from the tip of the...
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Bing! Yep. Really looks like this guy. And so apparently this little guy has grown to his full size. And now we'll see what that is in the big monster kit.
Well, how big do you think that thing is?
I think that it's probably on 100 mil base. So think about it like an Eidolon. Yeah.
All right, I'm going to make a different call. It's not. It's not that big. It's Beast of Chaos size.
Okay, so you're saying like a 60 mil?
Yeah.
Yep. Maybe.
Because that's like, I think it's meant, like, my sneaky suspicion.
Yeah.
It would be, and here's why I say that. They put a lot of thought into the profile of armies, right?
Okay.
Like there are people who are literally in charge of looking at the profile. Like, they'll lay the army out and set its silhouette.
So you're saying they wouldn't want it to be too big compared to like the Arachnarok and the...
Yes, I'm saying that the giant thing in the middle of the Goblin Force shouldn't be a giant centipede. Right, because that's a very standout aesthetic from the rest of the thing.
Sure. Okay, yeah.
But if it was like a 60 mil size, say like a Beast of Chaos size, then it would fit fine and look like it belonged in this sort of weird mix of creatures and squigs and everything. It wouldn't dominate.
Yep, that's fair. Yeah, I could see that. So maybe 100, because again, the Arachnarok's going to be out like a 160 round or something. Like, it's just a ridiculously large like pie plate. Which is why even at 100, I didn't think it would dominate, but maybe. So maybe 60. The other ones I want to point out, these are screen grabs that I did. The first is the allegiance page, which it clearly says Armies of the Bad Moon here.
Yeah, sure.
And it looks like what we're going to get is a similar layout to the multiple allegiance abilities based on your keywords.
Sure, like the Beast of Chaos.
The Beast of Chaos, yep. Yeah. And then on top of that, this is the allegiance abilities page. You'll notice have this little map down here.
Mm-hmm.
This looks like it may be setting out either the terrain piece or where the moon is. Like, you'll notice there's like little moon icons.
Oh yeah, sure.
And so there's going to be some effect related to the quadrants of the board.
Yeah, that's what it'll be. You're exactly right. Because there'll be a cycles of the moon thing.
Yep.
Right? Of like where the influence, the bad moon is. Yes.
Yep.
That's absolutely right. I love how, yes, people are all in the comments are all talking about enhance. Yes. We can't do that.
Yeah, that's not how that works. It's not how the internet, or that's not how photos work.
Somebody get Horatio Kane on the line. Let's go.
The other things I want to call out.
So.
Hey, I worked hard to get these screen grabs. Nobody else had grabbed these. So we have some points.
Sure. I mean, okay.
So we can't see a lot of the points. I have this one, then I have the second page. So what we can clearly see, we have a clear count that we can get on the battalions.
Sure.
Some of them are cheaply costed, under 100 points, like this one. I don't know which one that is. We see the 4 spells, the terrain piece down here. I can't.
10 battalions, is that right?
What?
There's 10 battalions?
Yes, 10 battalions.
Okay.
I can't tell allies down here. I think that we probably have.
What's the bottom? So it's 10 battalions, 4 endless spells, and
the
then
terrain piece.
Right? Okay.
The terrain piece.
Yep.
But the thing that jumped out at me on these the profiles more than anything else was the number of battle line if.
Sure. Well, that's got to be the trolls, right?
Yeah. Well, no, but watch. So you have these two. Okay.
Yes, I understand. Just stay here for a second. That's got to be the trolls, right? That last page.
Maybe.
Like Troggoth would tend to be toward the end of the list. Go to the end. What's the best?
But it might be like Sour Gut Troggoth, or like it could be a bunch of weird.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to figure out if there's actually a way to turn.
And I don't think that these are Troggoths, because if you look at I don't know, Min. Yeah, those could be maybe.
That's what I'm saying. Like the numbers, I don't know. It's hard to say.
Yeah, it's hard to say. Again, no more enhance. Not going to get much better than that. But we do have these two. But if you jump back here, look at this.
Yeah.
2, 3, 4, 5. 5 additional.
Yeah.
5 battle line if. 5 plus 2 others is 7.
Trolls. I'll tell you why I think those are trolls.
Why?
That area down there is all the squigs.
Down here?
Yeah. See the second word? That's clearly the word squigs, right?
Yeah.
Like that says something squig, something squig, something squig, right?
And then squig.
Yeah. So and some of those have some kind of battle line if catch, right?
Yep.
And then if that's squig, it just feels to me like Troggoth would be the thing after that. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Who knows?
Sure.
But like the other thing is that 2 unique characters up there?
Where? Up here?
Yes, because unique also appears in that last notes thing, right?
Yeah, 2 unique characters right here.
Yep. So we have the Loon King, who we know, and then there'll be a second named character yet to be.
Rumor has it that the guy in yellow on the cover is also a unique named.
Oh, Peanut Butter Jelly Time Man?
Yeah. Rumor has it. I don't know if that's true or not.
Well, we'll check in with Adele later and see what she has to say.
Look at this analysis that we're giving.
This is some deep analysis.
Yes.
For the stuff that we're just going to know in like 2 days. But yes.
Hey. Exclusives right here. I'm super excited about all of this. This gives us the total unit numbers as well if we want to go through and count, which I have not done because I'm lazy. These are probably battle lines up here.
Would make sense. Yeah, that looks right, because that's normally where they put those. And then you've got leaders down below that, and you can see because the leaders don't have the like XY min size max size on their unit.
Yep.
Right. And then what's the next thing? That I would have 2 words.
I don't know. Right here.
Yeah.
It's a great question. No.
Because your choices here are battle line leader.
Oh, I'll bet that's a Ragnarok. I'll bet it's in Ragnarok, and it's a behemoth, and it gains leader if.
Oh, you're right. That's what it's going to be. Yep, it's going to be behemoth parens leader. Yep, you're right.
That's what that one is. So this is not a battle line. Sorry, these 4 are probably battle line. This is probably gaining that keyword.
No, I think you're right about the top stuff being the battle line.
Yeah, but we have 2 generic battle line. We'll probably have a Grotz as generic battle line, and then something else as generic battle line, which I thought was really interesting. Because right now we only have 1 generic battle line. So, yeah. So those are some observations that I had made from the screen grab that I thought it was really interesting. Yeah. The other one that somebody had pointed out, this could be coincidence, as Vince has said. It was floating around. This was a map of like the chaos stuff from the Archeon book at the end of the End Times. And it showed like the different realms. So you have like Tzeentch and Khorne and all that. When you go down to Slaanesh, you'll notice right here
that the Bad Moon is in the middle of Slaanesh's realm. Sure.
Yeah, the Bad Moon is indeed in the middle of Slaanesh's realm.
Mm-hmm.
So are they tied? Like, because the Bad Moon is supposed to cause like madness and all that stuff. So I could maybe see it being tied with like Slaanesh in some way, shape, or form. I don't know that that's the case or not. But I thought that was interesting that I like, again, it could be coincidence, but with us knowing that Slaanesh is coming as well, this is a really interesting call out if it is.
No, sure. That's cool. I would just like to talk about how awesome Slaanesh's realm is. Like, I love the six circles of seduction: avidity, gluttony, carnality, paramounty, vainglory, and indolency. That's pretty wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
And then the Bad Moon sees over all of it. Anyways.
Yeah.
So yeah. So this is where we're at. We got some goblins coming.
Yeah, it's just funny that that's a, like, yes, it was. Dan mentioned it's an 8th edition book. Yeah, that's what we had said.
Yep.
It's still a neat book. So here's the other image I wanted to share real quick, Tom. Share one more here real fast. Which is, we have seen one other character. So I will share here, or I suspect some kind of leader. So this is a shot from the video. Look at that little dude. Look at this guy.
Yeah,
right here.
Yeah. So, and by the way, so it's interesting, like, this guy right here, I have another image of this. But so the guy that's next to the double moon, I don't think that's the same guy. That's a different guy than whatever that double moon is. And the reason why I say that.
Wait, what are you saying? I don't understand. You're saying this is a separate guy from this?
Yeah, that's something else.
Yeah. It is. Yeah, I agree. These are 2 separate figures.
Yeah. The one that's the double moon is standing on a mushroom.
Mm-hmm.
So the dude is on a huge, like, oversized mushroom, and he's on top of the cap because you can see him. He's blurred out in the background of some of the other images we have.
Yep. No, I just like this little dancing weirdo here. So that's cool. Like, just a little shot of another guy yet to come. So that's cool.
Oh, so good.
So, yeah, I mean, it was a big day. Big day. A lot of stuff. Obviously, as they mentioned, I'll recap here since we had a lot of people join, which is that, these Gloomspite Gitz are going to pull together what was, Moon Clan, Troggoths, and the Spider Fangs. And we got all these new kits, and this isn't, as they said, isn't even close to done yet.
Right. So I need to submit a retraction. We had reported on the show a couple weeks ago, and up until last week, I had adamantly, kind of defended that our sources suggesting this was not going to be a large release. It was going to be maybe 3 or 4 kits. That is not the case.
Yeah, clearly not.
That is clearly not. So we're probably definitely looking in the range of 8 to 10 kits, which is, a very large line, all things considered. It looks like pre-orders will start. Our sources are suggesting the pre-orders are going to start on the 5th, and they are going to then progress for the next week or 2.
Yeah, the question is, will they do the Sylvaneth trick, which was still my favorite thing. I did love that. Like, if you remember Sylvaneth, they released everything in one day.
Right.
Right.
Yep.
And it was great because I was able to put in my whole order at the store.
Yep.
I walked in one day, picked up my army, and went home.
Yep.
Unbelievably convenient. Okay.
Yes.
So I hope they shrink this to as little as possible. I mean, I don't. They probably have some kind of research about like if you spread it out over weeks, what does that mean to your sales? I don't know. I just for my personal convenience factor, I certainly love it more being on one big day. Like if you're gonna pick everything up, So
yeah. I mean, I was not gonna buy anything. And then suddenly I have a bunch of spiders that now I can use in an army. So it's going to make this a really hard pass for purchasing. So I'm probably going to have a goblin army starting this next year. That's probably happening. I really want to do my sun and moon list and do like a bad moon and a purple sun.
Sure. I mean, the reality is you already have a pretty sizable spider army. Like you have,
I have 60 spiders probably. I have 2 or 3 Arachnaroks, 6 to 8 trolls. Like I have.
How many of your Arachnaroks are painted?
Just 1.5.
Okay. So. It's a weird answer.
I got one. Like I received a secondhand one that was painted that I would repaint.
Sure.
And then I had 4 Arachnaroks.
Is your Arachnarok square base still?
It is. Because we didn't have an official base size back when I was looking at it. I've rebased some of it. What's interesting though is that I have like 20 bow forest goblins and 20 spear forest goblins that were the crew from the Arachnarok that I have them round based. So like I have units of 20 of this of grots for bows and spears already that are in the forest goblin aesthetic.
Which is fine. Like, I don't think there's really that much of an issue if you choose to have your goblins have the forest goblin aesthetic. You know what I mean? Like, because this all works together,
right?
It doesn't hurt anything to have
that
different look. Like, there's no more concern with that anymore. Now you've got a functional army. The fact that yours happen to wear feathers instead of like robes is no big deal.
Well, and not only that, they have like ripped robes on the actual, like all the forest goblins have ripped robes like around their torsos and stuff like that, which I had painted like black. Like I had painted it in Moon Clan like colors just in case, to which it's going to pay off. And I have like a rogue idol painted, and I have like 40 like spiders.
Somebody asked the question of whether you meant 60 spiders, like spiders or spider riders, and you mean spider riders. Yeah,
I mean spider riders.
Yeah, you have a crap ton of spider riders.
And not only do I have, like, they're in units of their similar marking, so that people who didn't collect goblins and didn't collect, particularly like people who only have exposure to spider riders through the Skull Pass, don't know this, but there are actually like 5 different body types on spiders.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, you wouldn't know this if you didn't buy the original kit. And I, like, of my 60, I have them actually divided out into like body unit types. So like all of, like, I have a bunch of lava. I have a unit of lava backs, which are like those that have like a cracked body pattern. And I have like spike backs, and I have the skull backs, and the different body types for the different spiders, like my units divided out. So like I actually have, and I was going to paint the different spiders differently and stuff like that. So,
which, by the way, those guys are certainly going to have an if battle line at worst. If your general is a guy on a Ragnarok,
right?
So like, welcome back to that world. And if there's 10 battalions, there's going to be a couple spider battalions.
I know,
like, guaranteed.
I'm so excited.
Zero,
no idea.
Okay, so like, assuming no real big points moves, which I would assume, like things might move a little.
Yep.
But I would assume things will end up in basically the same neighborhood. You've got a pretty significant army on your hands. 2 Arachnaroks and 60 Spider Riders alone. That's going to be, that's going to put you.
Yeah, like I probably have 3,000 points of goblins at least. Like, again, because I have and a lot of that is painted. And so it's not going to be hard to dive into a full army, is what I would say.
Sure.
So I'm excited. I mean, I'm much like last year. I will start the year with basically finding myself with an army on my hands already, like with Nurgle when they released the book. So
yeah.
I don't know if I'll stick with goblins for my army next year.
Well,
Like,
hopefully, Tom, next year they'll give you the elf book, like
Yeah.
some kind of elf thing right at the end or beginning of 2019 to 2020. That way you can luck into that for a third time. Just make this a thing.
Sure. Yeah, but I will say that like it's pretty promising. Like I could go for spiders all next year. Like I could do that. Like if to paint these guys up, and I love squigs too, so I wouldn't mind like owning a squig arm. I mean, I had like to be fair, I had like a 8,000 point Moon Clan army that I sold off. Like 2 years ago. So like I wouldn't mind rebuying basically a lot of that. So and all new plastic minis. So yeah, I'm stoked.
No, they all look good. Everything looks like really solid. I was thoroughly impressed by sort of everything they did here. And I was happy to see the focus on a lot of different interesting units. I'm hoping how this works out is not just bogged down with numbers, just like hosts and hosts of goblins doesn't become the thing. Like, I'm sorry for people who want that to be a thing. I don't want that to be a thing. I mean, I hope that like there's a good reason to have a block, a big block of goblins. Yep. But I'm not super interested to see 300 model armies on the table. I'm just not. Like, if you think that's cool. But like, I don't, because it's not going to move fast. It takes forever to move that number of models. It takes forever to kill that number of models. It just becomes this like weird swarm situation where like, especially if they have penalties built into them and that kind of stuff, and it just becomes this weird tar pit thing that's just not fun to play against. And by the way, if the term goblins aren't fun to play against comes up in common parlance,
they failed.
Then that's no good. These guys should be the fun. They should be wacky. They should be hilarious, and they should be, really interesting in what they can do and have a level of unpredictability and stuff like that. So I'm happy to see like the new, different kinds of fanatics. That clearly being a thing. My guess is they're probably going to have some different rules around them. Different kinds of, the squigs and the squig riders and all that kind of stuff. That's the stuff I see.
Right? Yeah, we have an honorable mention that we need to deal with as well. Let me see if I can find the image of it here real quick for us. Let me pull this one out. We haven't mentioned this yet. And so you can take a look at these bad boys.
Oh yes, of course. Yeah, I just want to say, like, I'm going to lock onto you here, but I want to echo. I like LLB made a comment in the comments of like a minus to hit plus massive swarms of units pretty quickly is going to equal feel bads. Right. And I agree with that. So I hope that isn't the
majority of
the emergent play style.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I really hope that there's a lot of incentive to build. This is a big force combined with that's a lot of different things combined. And what I'll say is that, like, when I look at Beasts of Chaos, I get the urge to build that in a lot of different ways. I think probably there's somewhat of a winner there in the Tzeentch stuff, but it's not hands down the absolute king of the ring. Yep. So I hope we end up in a similar place here, or even more tilted towards like, oh, I can build this in these 5 different ways, and they're all relatively compelling. Okay, now let's talk about these stupid dice. So
they're a nightmare to roll and like count.
They're clearly just wound marker dice.
That's what I was going to say but I'm going to buy a set anyways, and I'm going to use them as wound markers.
Yeah, which is fine. As wound markers, they're cute. I have no problem with them as that. They are not rolling dice. Like, there just isn't a universe where those roll legitimately.
Oh, as somebody said, you can do command point dice.
Oh, sure. Yeah. The point is non-rolling dice. There are plenty of uses of dice in this game that are not rolled.
Right.
Wound trackers, command points, any of 100 things, right?
Yep.
Just not rolling hits, wounds, and saves. Like, that should be restricted to real dice that actually have some semblance of, like, rolling, which these will not.
They're just so weird. So, yes, I love them, and I will use them for markers, for, like, wound markers. So, anyways, there we go. So we need to do a shout-out for those. I'm stoked. Like, again, I'm buying the book. I've already put an order in for the limited edition one.
Obvi.
So yeah.
So we'll have either the whole army, or on either the pre-order on the 5th, or basically maybe over 2 weeks, something like that. They did say there's more previews coming tomorrow and the next day, so we'll get more stuff Thursday and Friday this week. And I would assume probably we'll dive into like the big time previews next week in advance of the pre-order.
Sure.
So that's cool. It'll be interested to see these things as we get sort of the rules trot out. We'll clearly we'll get the allegiance ability preview, all that kind of stuff. I will be interested to see how these allegiance abilities translate. I'm interested to see what the phases of the moon thing translates into, right? The waxing and waning or whatever in the different
it'll probably be like in a quadrant. It'll start in one quadrant. And then it'll cycle through like probably clockwise.
Something like that, yeah.
Until the whole board is covered in turn.
Oh, I don't know. I think it'll just move.
You think it'll move?
Yeah, like it'll move through its cycle. Right? So like the bad moon will influence different parts of the board at different times. Would be my suspicion. But maybe. I don't know, we'll see. Like cuz the moon moves across the sky. It doesn't spread. It's not the blob. Right. It's the moon. It moves. I mean, it's not, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I understand.
Relatively. It doesn't actually move across the sky in that way. It's a rotating celestial body, at least on Earth. I don't know what the heck it is. And I don't know what it is.
Which moon? That's what I want to know. Which moon?
Yeah. I don't know what it is in the mortal realms. It doesn't work like it does here, which, by the way, I want to take a moment here to shout something out. So obviously, on Christmas Day, we got the 3-minute video, right? Yeah. It was the full trailer, which did show off a lot of the models and introduced us to the Loon King in more detail, where he was talking about how the Bad Moon spoke to him once, and now he's been following it for years, and he wants to know if it will ever talk to him again.
Yep.
I did appreciate the almost like pitiful nature of the Loon King. Like, that is to say, he was plaintive in his cries.
Like he was like, the moon spoke to me once, please speak to me again.
Yeah, I mean, he came across as like a religious fanatic who had heard the voice of God, but now God is silent, right? And that kills him,
right?
That he can't hear his God. And then obviously it ends on a happy note because the moon tells him, yes, he will hear the moon again. So it all works out happily in the end.
It makes me wonder, like, so here's a funny, weird plot thing. Like, how awesome would it be if, like, remember how I mentioned, like, the Slaanesh tie?
Okay. Yeah.
And Slaanesh is, like, caught in the twilight between, like, the light and darkness.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how creepy, crazy would it be if the Bad Moon is just, like, a channel for Slaanesh?
Okay.
And it's Slaanesh's voice that's silent.
Oh, sure, yeah. Oh, by the way, so this was asked. Hi, Phil. There you go. You said it too. Okay, cool.
Yes.
Keep going. Yeah, sure. Like, I want to talk for a moment about unreliable narrators.
Sure.
Okay.
Yep.
Because this was one of my favorite videos they've done in a while. It didn't have like the rock music that got me excited, but I liked it from a narrative point of view.
Yep.
That is to say, it wasn't as exciting as the Daughters of Cain trailer, but that's mainly because I don't give a hoot about goblins and don't care about them, or will never collect them, and that's fine. Not every army needs to be for me. Like, I'm excited that they exist. I just have zero interest in them.
It could be our holy Havoc team next year. You could do an entire Squig army.
No. Like, seriously, zero interest. Buddy, I'm in the middle of a project. We'll talk about that at Hobby Time. We're in it to win it now, brother. But at any rate, I loved this video because of something that came across in here that's really, really good writing. Okay? Sure. So for people who write fantasy or this, I see this happen a lot with DMs, like newer DMs or just even or older DMs who write like worlds in D&D, or right, like create their own world. Like people who tell background stories, and they just flat out explain stuff, right? This is the god, and he did this thing, and this is when this happened, and this is this, and X is Y, and it reads like about as interesting as leafing through an old Encyclopedia Britannica. Right? It's boring.
Right.
Because knowing is boring in these kinds of sort of mythologized stories.
Sure.
Right? Whereas here, the goblin guy is like, this moon spoke to me once, and I think this is what it is. I think Gorka Morka tried to eat it, but he couldn't. It was too bad, and it broke off some of his teeth, and his teeth got in and infected it. But the spider fangs think it's a giant egg and it's going to hatch and spill spiders everywhere. And then these other shamans think it's the dead. It's like the collected ghosts of all the dead shamans who've ever lived, right? And like he doesn't. And at the end, he's like, I don't know.
Right.
You know, he offers you these three completely different, completely wild narratives about what this thing is, and it's just like, I don't know what it is. It does a thing, I know that. Like I know it's magic somehow.
Yep.
And I love that type of storytelling because then there's no answer. It's so much more interesting to not have an answer and to get the in-world unreliable narrator sort of perspective on what this thing is. It was such a fantastic piece of like evocative storytelling. So there you go. I thought that was wonderful. And am I upset because they're out before Slaanesh? No, we have expected for months for these stupid weedy goblins to come out before Slaanesh, and that's fine. Destruction needs the love. Slaanesh, I'll make a joke here. So look, Slaanesh should come out very slowly. Slaanesh's release has been tantric in nature, and that's appropriate, right? We got these 3 rules. Then we get a little bit more when we get this depravity. Then we get wrath and rapture. You just got to push to the very edge with Slaanesh, but you don't go all the way there. So it's fine. In time, it'll happen. And that's as would be appropriate for Slaanesh. But these goblins, like, again, no, they don't interest me from a personal perspective. But I think they look super cool. They did such a great job on the redesign of the models. The aesthetics look cracking. The story looks great. I love seeing all this recombined. I love seeing Destruction get a big giant boost and a big kick. Because like I sincerely doubt this is going to be bad. Let me ask this question, Tom. Does any part of you fear that the battle tome will be bad? Like that it would drop and just be a dud?
No, I mean like no. Like I trust the playtesters and the design team.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. As do I. I think since we've seen that process, sort of come to be, an official double cycle in the creation process, we've seen just quality, quality after quality.
We are light years away from the Kharadron Overlords release.
Yeah, absolutely.
We are.
Yeah, 100%. Yes, that's right. Cool. So obviously more to come on goblins in the future. Anything else you want to say on goblins, Tom?
No. I'm excited.
Absolutely. No, it's something to be excited for. These guys were super cool. Obviously they broke the internet today. How has no one made a break the internet meme with the goblin moon dude squeezing the champagne bottle up on like the champagne up over onto his own butt like they did with the Stormcast thing? Get on it, internet. Because that would be a great image. Especially if it's peanut butter jelly time guy. All right. So, Tom.
Yes, Vince.
Let's go to pick of the week since that's the end of the news. What would you like to share with everybody here on this lovely post-Christmas day?
So, let's say
we can talk about what you got for Christmas during hobby time, by the way.
I didn't get anything for Christmas. You can talk about...
get any hobby stuff for Christmas?
Nope.
You need to ask for better gifts. Continue.
I know, I do. So you have some extra money burning a hole in your pocket.
I don't, but okay. Let's play this hypothetical.
I'm speaking to our viewers.
Okay.
You have money in your pocket. It's burning a hole in your pocket, and you are anxious for the coming green tide, right? You want to go all out with these wonderful goblins. So I'm going to point you to a product line that is not intended for this at all, but I want to encourage you all to check out for my fellow Gloomspite fanatics. And the line itself is Dwarven Forge. Now, the significance of what I want to point you to is actually they have a painted line and an unpainted line of Dwarvenite. And if you go down to the bottom of the unpainted line, they have this wonderful mushroom pack. See that?
Nice.
And like this is like a 25 mil base or so. is the size of it.
Okay.
So like
they're not huge. They're relatively easy to fit on lots of different bases.
Right. And so some of these would be really good for like heroes. So like if you want to like instead of doing hero rocks, you can do hero mushrooms. For these, and then obviously some of these are going to be better for like boards, for building boards. But yeah, so would be some decent basing stuff. And then the other one, the related one that may be valuable is the stalagmite pack. These are much larger. Like these are the size of 50 mil bases right here, 50 to 60 mil bases, and these are various like stalagmite, setups and water holes and stuff like that. So, anyways, geysers. Yeah. So here's my recommendation. It's a fun company. And I have and I think that these would be appropriate for this type of project. Honorable mention to Garissimo, who does his own 3D printing stuff, and he has a big mushroom line as well, which would be great for terrain and boards. So we'll have the links to both of those on in the show notes.
Very nice. Yeah, it's a good shout out. The like ruins kits, the large detail basing kits, do come with little teeny baby mushrooms.
And the actual like Shattered Dominions bases come with stalagmites, little mini stalagmites.
Oh yeah, those are in there too. Yeah, you get both. Yep. Same with the detail kits. Not that you had that's a poor reason to buy those. Just if somebody was looking for, I like those large detail basing kits, and both I keep them around for both fantasy and 40K, and so the mushrooms and stalagmites are just a bonus. Yep. I suppose they could be tights, but you don't normally have a ceiling on your miniatures. I suppose that would be weird. But for my pick this week, last week we referenced everybody to. Hey, Woe did an FAQ thing. The FAQ seems so far away now, doesn't it? It's amazing how everybody forgot that. Just in the rear view. Like, that's such is the news cycle. But before we leave it completely behind, I want to direct everybody to a fun little thing that Hey Woe Twitch did a week back on Thursday, wherein he spent about 3 hours going through and just rewriting many, many units and armies and factions and doing fun stuff. And just like taking user suggestions and doing a fun thing. So if you're interested in watching him sort of rewrite the game and, he put all that together, polish it up and sent it in to GW, or he's going to. I don't know if he did it yet. I don't know if Halo's in the chat. So if you've sent it already, say something, or if you're going to do another show to finalize it, because I know he mentioned like putting polish on it. But it was just a fun little exercise. And it was nice because he sort of walked through thinking about how to change things. I thought it was a really good thought exercise. Stuff like that has value. At any rate, so that was fun, and I'll link that video down below. And it's great to paint to. It's got a good beat, and you can dance to it. I give it an 84. So, okay, yes, it has been shipped off. So, Tom, let's transition to some hobby time, buddy. What do you got? So no hobby stuff for Christmas. Boy, that is a sad violin moment if I've ever heard it, man. I'm going to need to play some sad Affleck for you. Do you just not ask for anything hobby related, or what's the deal there?
It's a, I mean, I don't normally have hobby needs.
I mean, sure. Christmas isn't about needs.
I understand that.
Christmas gifts, that is.
I do. Like my wife, we're doing a getaway thing, and so that was my Christmas from her. And I got some cash, but I didn't actually get like gifts. So I don't know, like along those like hobby stuff. So I mean, it is what it is. So I don't have a lot of need, and whenever I do need things, I just go out and buy it.
No, sure, that's fair. I mean, fine.
Let me say it this way: when I have wants, I just go buy those hobby things.
That's right. It's fine. I just like being surprised. It's fun.
I do too.
As you like. So it was So what are you working on? How about that?
Okay. I put my brush to a model for the first time today in quite a long time. Like,
oh, just because you had been off and traveling and Christmas.
well,
and
that stuff, and then I went through like a huge build phase, like a 2-week build phase, and then I went to like a week-long like airbrushing phase, because I basically did like all of my priming, all of my zenithal, and all of my skin, and all of that takes like all of that is airbrush. That's none of that like the initial coats of those. And so I did all of that on the whole army, or the whole remaining stuff. And so now I finally am sitting down and working through individual units. And so like I'm doing brushwork now, and it's amazing. I haven't done this in like 2 months.
Okay, well, welcome back.
Yeah, thanks. It's a great feeling. So and I'm making progress, and it feels good.
All right, man. For myself, I did get some stuff. Some stuff that will appear in, like product reviews and things like that.
Yep.
Some stuff that'll be for competition and just other things. I got this paint set, which I've been playing with, which I am very excited about, which is the fluorescent set from Scale 75. So I've been checking that out. And why would you want a fluorescent pink and purple, Vince? Boy, I don't know.
Oh, God.
Why would I want those colors? Because, well, that would be because, the girls are back in town, right? It's time. It's time to get our Slaanesh on. So the Great Slaanesh Refresh project has begun. It's official. I'm in it to win it. Redo the whole army. So
are you repainting models?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
So like, and here's a good example. So what I've been working on today is like refashioning. These girls aren't done yet because their dumb bodices aren't finished, but like getting these girls back to or up to snuff.
Yeah.
And so this is like a 2-pass process. And these girls were terrible. They were like my oldest models from like 2006, the oldest models in this army. And just like they were awful beforehand. So I went and like smoothed them out some. And now I'm going in and adding the detail. The rest aren't as bad. I had like 40 daemonettes. Yep. I decided to start with daemonettes because I'm going to get the worst part out of the way first.
Yep.
Okay. So I'm sprucing up all my daemonettes. And I had 10 that were like this, just traditional old style daemonettes that are being brought up to snuff. I had 10 more that were like painted better that I had done later, which just need a little bit of touch-up work, and then rebased. I had 10 that are built off of witch elves, right? And then I have 10 that are the Juan Diaz daemonettes. Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah. That I'll spruce up a little. And then I've got 30 more sitting behind me, like unbuilt.
Sure.
And so the actual, this will be like when it comes to daemonettes, I already had 40 basically in the clip. So you do another 30, and now I finally have an army where I have real horde numbers, right?
I would say, like, that's a real horde army, Vince. Like, how do you feel about that?
I can actually do a 30-30-10 if I wanted to, right? How crazy is that? It's insane. I actually started by just doing bases. So, because obviously everything's on square bases, right?
Yep.
I mean, not everything, but most stuff.
Yep.
So I made like 100 bases before I went away for Christmas.
Yep.
I remade all the 25 mils, and I remade a whole bunch of 60 by 35s. Like, that's all for your daemonettes, your heralds on steed, your seekers, and your hellstriders.
Yeah.
Right? So getting all that stuff done. I've got like 3 bases for the fiends. I've got the Infernal and Rapturous put together. She'll be a nice little... She's my special reward here for the first part, right? Like, I'm saving her until I get this nonsense done, and then I'll actually reward myself by painting her. So,
sure.
But yeah, I figure if I can get all the daemonettes out of the way, it's just like, that is the hill, right? That is the hill to climb. So I've just been sitting here like just grinding, working these. These first 10 are taking the longest because they were hot garbage. Oh my God, dude. They were so bad. Very bad. And by the way, here's the thing. I'm not stripping them. Okay? Like, some people I see, they talk about, like, you got an old paint job, and so they strip them. Nope. I've never stripped a model. Other than, like, if it came in from somebody else off from eBay and it was metal and it had like just caked on spray paint or something, you know, that's fine. I've stripped that. But like with this stuff, nope, just painting over it. Like, you know, this looked like utter garbage earlier today, and I managed to get it to where I wanted to. So seems fine to me. It doesn't need to be stripped. Just paint over it. So there you go. I haven't done like the chariot bases. I'll have to do all those separate, all the big ones for like all the chariots and stuff, because there'll be 2 exalteds and 2 regular herald chariots. So those are all somehow on the same base.
Yeah.
The only thing I'm not rebasing yet is all my keepers.
Yep.
Okay. Because right now they just put the exalted onto a 105 by 70 or whatever, which is nice. I like that she's on that smaller base. But like, does she stay like that? Because we're going to get the new keeper, you know, sometime in the early part of 2015, right? So what the heck does that look like? Like, what does that new keeper base look like? I would assume she's probably will be on about the same base, but I'd rather not guess and have to redo this again.
Right. You're gambling if you change it now.
Right. So I got plenty to keep me busy here for a while. So it's going to be just a lot of Slaanesh. Just start working in the coal mine. That's it. There you go. Okay.
Yep.
Let's see. I'm answering a question. Not stripping Slaanesh model seems counterproductive. Solid joke, Andrew. And let's see. And then Necrolepsy says, do you not lose the benefits of the Zenithal if you go over with too many coats? Yeah, sure. But I mean, these were never Zenithal, most of these. These were all painted before I started painting in that style. So this is just like, I can just brush in the appropriate stuff I want. It's just more of it's a little bit of airbrush work and a little bit of brush work to get them cleaned up. Like one of the things I did, they all had very like complete pale white skin. So one of the things I did today first was go in with the airbrush and lay in some shadows, right? And so then it'll just be a matter of smoothing out a little bit and cleaning a little bit up. Once I get through these first 10, the rest is going to get a lot easier. So there you go.
Yeah, that's what I did with my airbrush today. So did a bunch of skin shadow work. Yeah,
just smoothing out shadows. It's really like your airbrush doesn't have to be limited to just at the beginning. Like these models were more or less fully painted, and I still just turned the airbrush back on them. You can be careful, and you can work in like hyper thin glazes that'll only affect the white of their skin, right? And just doesn't change anything else.
Yep.
So there you go. There was a question of, can you do 3 Zenithal coats with rattle cans, or is it just too much detail cover? I would argue yes. If you're gonna Zenithal with rattle cans, just do black and white. Don't worry about that. You'll get an effective gray anyways, because it won't gather like that. So just do black and white. All right. So, Tom, with that said, let's turn to this. Talking about this Slaanesh thing is actually quite a nice segue. Boom, segues. So let's talk about 2019, buddy.
Sure.
So we're gonna make some predictions. All right.
Yeah.
Predictions for 2019 and resolutions for 2019. Okay. Let's start with the predictions. Here we go. All right.
Yep.
Our 2019 predictions in no necessary order. It is time to strap on the tinfoil hats. It's time to prognosticate, to peer into the crystal ball. Right.
Yep.
And determine what 2019 looks like to AOS. And then we can come back and we can reference this and see how right we were.
Or not.
Okay? Or not. Probably not. But that's all right. Okay. So, obviously, the first part's easy. We know the Moon Clan are coming. Probably maybe a week or 2 of releases.
I'm going to predict that we get Spider.
You're saying there's some more Spider models we haven't seen yet? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm just saying I'm going to predict a battle tome that includes Spider Fang.
Oh, good call. Yeah, you win on that one.
I mean, I've been doing that for 4 years, and
yes,
first Goblin book that came.
Yes, finally nailed it. All right, so we know I've got our goblins. Let's move on past that. What's your first prediction? Again, these don't have to be in chronological order. So, your first prediction of things we will definitely see in 2019. Definitely, we're planting a flag. Write it down, etch it in stone. This is happening. Go.
We are going to see, no question to my mind, some updated first edition tomes.
Okay. So we're going to get the relaunch of several early non-ruled, like, you know what I mean, non-allegiance ability rule-having tomes. All right. Take a swing at that. Unpack that. Who's getting tomes?
The first one?
I agree with you, by the way. I think that will happen too.
The first one? I think we will see Fire Slayers.
Okay.
I think that we will see Vince. If you can contain yourself, I'll say this. I think we will see a joint Skaven book.
Yeah, I mean, I hope that doesn't happen anytime soon. To be completely honest.
I mean, I hear that, and I hear your frustration. You know, like
no, hold, pause. Let me reset that expectation. Give me the. I'm really torn on this one. Look, I love my Skaven, but I'm in the middle of Slaanesh here. Okay,
yeah,
steering into the Dark Princess here.
Yeah,
I don't have time to go focus on rats. And by the way, creating 100 bases for Skaven, or sorry, for Slaanesh was like time consuming enough. Right. I can't imagine.
How many slaves do you have?
I have 150 clan rats.
There you go.
Clan rats.
Yep.
Right. And I mean, obviously I have 40 storm vermin and just on and on and on and on and on from there. It's
and they all need new paint jobs.
Well, I'm not doing that. I mean, I'd rebase them, but I ain't repainting the Skaven. Like they're rats. They can stay rats. That's how that is. Here's what I'll say. I would love an updated tome. I would also like some new models for Skaven. And I think if we just got an updated tome, we wouldn't get the new models.
I agree.
So I would like
but I don't want this to happen, but I think that we're gonna get it is the answer. And I think that we're gonna, because we have like, I look at like, so the earliest books that we had were Fire Slayers, Seraphon, and Pestilence.
Yeah, sure.
And some of those would not surprise me if those are the early tomes that we see here. I mean, honestly, I would love it if we didn't get Fire Slayers and we got some like Dwarven, like Duerden, you know, like Warriors of the Ancestors, where we get all of our Duerden, where we get our Kharadron Overlords update and all of it rolled into one. I don't think we'll get that. I'd love it if we did, but I don't think we'll get that. I think we would get it with Skaven, at least initially.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I'm very torn because I'm the kind of person who only wants one project at a time. Yeah. That being said, I suppose if it was going to drop, like, here's the thing. I'm very torn on this because I think you're right. I think they will do a Skaven tome. I don't know that it would be that early. Maybe it'll end up being like a Beast of Chaos thing, right? Where it's just kind of they drop it in Q3. It has like the tome and some endless spells, right? And then you call it a day. Fine. I wouldn't mind that in Q3, I suppose. Then I can kind of rebase leisurely if I want. If it was early in the year, I would just buy the book and be like, okay, that's a fun project for later, right? Yeah. Like I wouldn't have the time. I wouldn't feel like I could really enjoy it. I hate to say delay it or whatever. Like my will shouldn't express. I'm sure there's like millions of people who are crying out, millions of rats chittering all together for this new tome, and I don't want to take it. I don't want to feel like I'm voting for it to be taken away from those people. But I would love a Skaven release that's more like narratively driven and kind of did something interesting with them and gave us new kits. I think there's so much room to explore with them. Sure. I would hate to see us just get like the Beasts of Chaos treatment, you know, where it's just like, here's the book, shut up, nerds, you're done now. Like, well, I mean, that's good. Yeah. I'm not sad about that, but like,
I mean, it took us 4 years to get a goblin anything.
Sure. I don't know what other side of the screen means. Somebody is saying that. What do you mean other side of the screen? I don't know what that means. You want me to lean over here? Lean over here. Anyway, so yeah, okay. So Fire Slayers and Skaven. Sure.
Yeah, I think we'll see that.
I would add Iron Jaws to that list too.
Yeah, agreed. We've heard about the Iron Jaws update. Yeah. I'd love to see a Kharadron Overlords, but I don't think it's going to happen yet.
Yeah, I mean, Iron Jaws sort of like feel like a thing that could easily happen because they're a relatively small army. You wouldn't need kits. You could put out another kit if you wanted. You don't need it, but you could do it. You could like, it's a pretty it's simple in its total number of things. It's played by the person who's in charge of all of this.
Yeah.
So, not that person would put their finger on the scales or anything, but I'm sure they'd be excited if that project came to the desk. It is a book only thing, which that person has more control over, right? So,
Right.
Yeah, I'd be fine with a new IJ book. I'd love that because that army's ready to rock. Sure, give me a new book with some more fun toys, but I don't need it. Like Iron Jaws is great. It's fine. It's fine. Everybody's 38%, whatever. I don't care. To that 38%. It's not indicative of my world, so there you go. And I like my army. But if you gave me a new kit or a new book, I'm not going to complain. All right, so there you go. Yes, that is an Archaon. It's Archael. It's my Slaanesh Archaon. So what else?
That's what I think we'll see.
All right, so here's my prediction. You ready?
Yep.
Okay. We close out next year. I'm jumping ahead a whole year.
Yep.
Q4.
Yep.
Light Elves. Tyrion. Angel Elves. That's my call.
Really?
Write it down. Write it down. Are you writing it?
I'm not
writing it.
No, I don't see it. I mean, maybe, I guess, maybe.
I'm saying it's happening.
Why do you think that it's happening? Like, I know that there's like a rumor out there that it's happening.
Of course. General rumor floating in the ether, but that's not why I'm saying it's happening.
Okay. So then tell me why you think it's happening.
Okay. Circumstantial evidence, but that's the way abductive reasoning works.
Sure.
Okay. So, thing of the first. Okay. Tyrion and Teclis and Malarian and Marathi all got together and kidnapped Slaanesh.
Yes.
Right? We haven't said it yet, but Slaanesh is coming out sometime in 2019. Okay? Like, that's happening. They didn't release Flesh and Frenzy not to give us the Slaanesh release. Right?
Right.
I hope sooner rather than later. When this is happening, it's bounced all over the place. I saw a bunch of people saying April in the comments. I've seen 100 million times of when this might be. I don't know when. If I had to lean a guess, I would hope for sooner rather than later. But we'll see. It's going to be early-ish in the year, certainly in the first half. Right?
Yep.
Now, traditionally, the Chaos books have either been the first or second. I see you saying April. Why do you think it's April? What's your confirmation for April? Which is fine. That's believable to me. I just want to know where that comes from. So because I've seen everything between February and April being the common discussion points.
Right.
Anyway. Now, once Slaanesh is out of the bag, it's gonna come to light in the mortal realms that Tyrion and Teclis and Malarian and Marathi all did this.
Yes.
Okay. And people are going to be pissed at the stupid elves for screwing up again. All right. Okay. Yet again, you guys managed to be dum-dums. So it's not weird. This is standard operating procedure where the elves ruin everything. It's always at the bottom of the fault tree in Warhammer, you always find elves. Okay? Because they always think they know best. And they never do.
I mean, they have kept Slaanesh trapped for millennia.
Well, good on them. I'm sure that the hundreds of thousands of people who've died in the Crusades, all that the Slaaneshi followers went on to try to find their hidden god, appreciate that. Not so Slaanesh is out there, he's out there, he's not out there, he's not out there. Doesn't seem to be having much of a difference, frankly, in her influence on the world.
Sure.
But at any rate, so I'm glad they got Slaanesh in this zoo, and it's she is going to break free, and then won't everything just hit the fan? And who responds first? Who responds first without further thought? as to how to like capitalize on this turn of events or scheme out what the best response is. Who's first out of the gate?
And it's clearly Tyrion.
It's clearly Tyrion. Yes, that's right. Like, Marathi's already out and about, so she's doing whatever she's doing, right? Her force is already out there. The daughters are already out and about. They're out there murdering for good. And I say more power to them. It's certainly not Malarian, who's already a god, and is like 7 people even know the guy exists, right? Sure. He's keeping this on the DL, right? And it's certainly not stupid Teclis, the worst of all, who's like going to be Mr. Schemer again and try to figure out what the right thing to do is. Oh, let me get my plans within a plan within a plan. This worked out so good last time. You remember when he caused the world to end? And I do rest that 80% on his shoulders.
Not you mean not on Manfred?
The other 20% is Manfred. Manfred's like a catalyst, though, right? Like catalysts aren't the chemicals that cause the reaction. Okay. At any rate, Tyrion's the first out of the rip. So that's clearly the narrative arc of Slaanesh coming out. We know that Tyrion has these angel elves. We know that the painters have been talking about how the stuff they're working on is going to blow you away, and it's amazing. Like they've said that in interviews, right? That some of the stuff they're working on is absolutely incredible, and they're really excited about it. We know they work about a year in advance. Angels are generally that sort of like awe-inspiring, mind-boggling thing. Can you imagine angelic elves, as was talked about in that book, on this current generation of sculpts?
Yeah,
and your mind handle.
There's nothing that's going to connect them to the base. They're literally just going to hover above the bases.
That's right. That's right. Because we finally live in a world where they're taking stuff up off the base. It's what they do.
Right.
Right. Like things just get up off the base like so easily now. And if you're flying and dynamic, and this will be their greatest victory ever. Right. Because it'll just be flying crap. Right. All these angelic elves.
I don't disagree with that.
So there you go. There you go. That's why I'm saying that. Now it's the end of the year because they're not gonna swing around quick to that. They'll use that as their big, you got to finish strong, as it were, right? That's the big closing number. So there you go.
Now, will it be Moon Clan for next year? Or will it actually be in Q4?
I don't know. Did that get louder? Did I get louder?
No.
Okay. I'm going to figure out this new microphone sometime. I just noticed a different button and played with it. That's a good thing to do, right? Randomly in the middle of a live show.
Yes.
So we'll say it again. I'm sorry. Will what get louder?
So will the Light Elves be the Moon Clan for next year? The big launch into the new year? Or will it actually be a Q4, like an October release?
I'm going to say Q4. I think it'll be the November release with the sale for Christmas. That's my gut instinct. I think a lot of Q3 and stuff like that. I think they'll close out the summer, then the fiscal year, and sort of lead into the beginning of next year with like a lot of 40K stuff, including Slaanesh, which plays double duty. Right? It makes sense to kind of have Slaanesh available toward the end of the fiscal year because it can play for both AOS and 40K, and you want the strongest products at the end of the fiscal year. They want something that's really sexy and new in the Christmas period, things that catch people's eye, right? So that's again why that sort of time frame makes sense.
Sure.
Okay. All right. So that's there you go. Light elves. Tom, go. Next prediction.
I'm going to go something safe and say we're getting Slaanesh.
Well, yeah. We know that.
Okay.
But since we know that, if you give a prediction that we know, you got to go a level deeper now.
Okay. No. Okay. So actually, no, I'm not going to go Slaanesh. But I will go the next. So they said that this is the year of destruction. Right.
Right. Yeah. Yes. That is the current discussion. Yes.
I think that we are going to get a new destruction faction this summer. Mid-year, I think we will have our Destruction Night Haunt equivalent. We had Legions of Nagash opening last year in February, and it was our safe faction release. And then we had basically like an entire new product line. I think we are going to get that next this summer, and I am inclined to think that new faction is going to be ogres. And to step it up even one step farther, not only do I think it's ogres, I think we're going to get a fire eater's entire ogre line.
What? Oh, by the way, if the call on April was because Nurgle was April, Nurgle wasn't April. Nurgle was much earlier than that.
Oh yeah,
like,
Nurgle was like week 3 of January.
Yeah, because the original Nurgle stuff came out at the 40K stuff came out at the end of the year, and then January we got the book.
Do you want to get back to my fire eater call for the
I'm
summer?
excited about this one. Yeah. Just scrolling back to see what the reason was for the April call.
Got it. Oh yeah, fire eaters for the summer is what I'm calling.
Fire eaters.
Mm-hmm. I think that they will be, like Caribbean Tropicana themed.
What? Okay.
Like they're from Samoa. Like they're from Samoa. Like that. Like I think
this is my island down in the sun. Like that kind of a Caribbean feel. Like that's what we're going for.
Yeah, something tropical.
Okay.
Like I think that's where we're going with ogres. They are the next big. They're the other destruction launch.
Wow. Now this is a swing at the fences. Holy crap. Now I'm excited, man. This is the stuff we do in this show.
Yes. Okay. Voodoo as the heart of it.
Yes. Sure. Absolutely. So voodoo, fire eater, Caribbean ogres.
Right. Because the fire eaters have been the butt of like the faction jokes, much like Swifthawk agents.
Sure.
And I think GW is going to be like, okay, I see that and I raise you. And I think that they're going to come out with, it'll functionally be a new faction, even though it's built on basically a model.
That's incredible. I love this idea. I think you could do that in a super fun way. Because that sort of like voodoo concept is very popular. If you look at there's lots of other games that have those sort of voodoo themed forces in them. Right. Yeah. And have so you can play in that space pretty effectively.
Yeah.
You don't need to make it representative of any real world culture. Those themes are larger than that, right? You can just sort of pull on the ideas. They could have, man, that'd be so cool. How amazing would it be if somehow that stupid little fire bellies thing that's just been like this singular thing that everybody was like, just collapse it back in, There's no point to it. Okay. If that became its own entire army. That would blow my mind.
This summer, coming near to you, is you had ice ogres, now you're going to get fire ogres.
Okay. All right. So that's your call for the new army, effectively, right? Is what you're saying.
Destruction.
Is that your Ideneth Deepkin basically army for the year, right? Like every year we get this one completely new army. Yep. And one would assume that's going to continue. This sort of which I think is the right speed, by the way. Right? I actually think the release speed has been about perfect. They have their foot on the gas almost exactly correct. Because I don't want to see them burn down all the available stuff. I think they should support more stuff in the GHB. I don't want to see them speed up book releases.
Yep.
Give people time to really make a big deal of it, to get their army collected and so on. Spread these things out.
And that gives us ogres. Like that gives us a dip into ogres, into new ogre models that we haven't had.
Sure.
And that plants a flag, like the final kind of like the triad of like orcs, goblins, and ogres of destruction. Does that make sense?
Yeah, sure.
So and if we have an Iron Jaws update, then basically all three of the major kind of like families of destruction have been updated.
Oh yeah, that's a good call. Yeah, I like that. That's interesting, right? Because then you'd have basically a newer orc army, a newer goblin army, and a newer ogre army, all of some kind.
Right.
Sorry, BCR, you get nothing. No, they should just show up in the GHP with a brand new set of allegiance abilities. Pretty easy.
Yes, BCR should be updated in the in the GHB, and then down the road they can be then updated again as their own army.
Yeah, there you go. That's all you need. That's fine, right? BCR players, you're fine. The three of you out there, you're okay with that, right? Okay, cool. So, okay, that's a good call, Tom. I dig the heck out of that call. All right, now I'm excited. All right, so mine next up for me. All right.
Yep.
Okay, so we are not going to get a Dark Oath army. Okay.
Okay.
We are instead going to get and some people have said this isn't just my thing, I'm pulling out of nowhere. Like, not by, maybe it'll have kind of that name, maybe not, but not like that being the major theme.
Yep.
We are going to get a completely reunified, like, Everchosen, kind of like Dark Oath, Chaos infused mortal force, right? Of just these, like,
so is it going to be Slaves to Darkness?
Yeah, sure. I mean, will they have that keyword? Is that what you're asking me? Or
yes.
Are you asking me, is it Slaves to Darkness?
Will it be a reimagined Slaves to Darkness with rolling in all of the current Slaves to Darkness units?
Yes. With the ability to play into any of the four gods if it wants to, right?
Right.
And it will have Archeon, and it will have a big release all around, like the War Queens and stuff like this will be the ones sort of prosecuting the mortal war, as it were, right? But like that's it. It'll be the chance to redo the screw up that was Everchosen. So It falls along that line. It pays off the last Herald, right? And it'll come around the same time as the Slanesh release. As once, like, it's not long after, because it will be basically just it'll be effectively just, maybe a book release. I don't know that it would really need kits. I don't know that I think it'll have kits. Maybe it'll have a kit or two. And it would just be like, now that all four Chaos gods are back out.
Yeah, it's Chaos forces rallying.
Yes, because the Dark Princess has rejoined, right? It re-empowers the Chaos, like the marauding Chaos hordes, to get together and go back out there.
Yep.
And so we burn down this, like we pay off the Dark Oath thing. We burn down this bad Everchosen thing we've got floating around that just doesn't work at all how they want it to, right? Yeah. Because what Everchosen is meant to represent is like the leadership of chaos,
right?
And that's simply not the case. It just doesn't work like that. And it's just terrible in the way it's built right now. So, I don't think you'll get much in the way of new kits. I would love it if you would, but I think
you get a new Marauder kit.
It's possible. If they were gonna redo anything, that one would be a good candidate, because those Marauders are dooftacular, right? And it'd be great.
They're just the worst.
The worst.
Not even dooftacular. They are the worst.
Sure. And it would be great to see a new Marauder kit more in line with like the
Dark Oath.
Yeah, the Warband and Shadespire.
Yeah.
Right. So, which I think if they were going to do kits, it'd be a couple barbaric kits like that. My point is, like, we're not getting new Chaos Warriors or new Chaos Knights or, this kind of stuff, right? We get maybe a couple barbaric style kits or something like that.
Yep.
And that's and job's a good one, as it were, right? That brings Everchosen, and what they'll do is they'll have some interesting way to utilize Everchosen with all this barbaric stuff or with the other gods or whatever, right? So it can be this rallying point of chaos. You do it like a substitutive.
No, like what it is it's a build out to Beast of Chaos. You know how they had the different tribes?
Yes, I was going to say like Tamerkin's Horde.
Everchosen is a Stormhost.
I would call it more like Tamerkin's Horde. I understand.
Sure. Like you're saying like an overlay. I don't know if they would do the overlay in the default book, maybe, and I would be okay with that. And we've talked about that, but yeah, I could do an overlay.
Yeah, I think an overlay. The reason I say like Tamerkin's is because Tamerkin's is discreet about what it allows in.
Yeah.
Right. It's an overlay that also has restrictions. Like you can only bring X, Y, and Z units. Yeah.
Yep.
Which I think is Everchosen will have the same that sort of overlay of like an army of Archaon. So you can have an army of Archaon of an Everchosen force without having Archaon on the table.
Sure.
Does that make sense? Like Archaon commands forces beyond the people in his immediate range of vision.
Entourage, right?
Right. Like he is the Grand Marshal of the Apocalypse. His forces are multitude, right?
It's a thing.
Yeah. So the point is that you want some way to represent that, and this would be the way to do that. An overlay just makes sense.
Yep, I can see that.
All right. So that's how I think they're going to redo Everchosen, right?
Okay.
And you use the narrative impetus. By the way, this also kicks Tyrion's butt into gear faster. Okay. Yeah. Because like Slaanesh gets out, Chaos goes on the warpath at some point, right?
And somebody needs to push back.
And somebody needs to push back. Tyrion's like, all right, call in the Air Force, right? And Flight of the Valkyrie plays, or Rite of the Valkyrie plays, or whatever the hell it's called. Right. And
so do you get an Angelos chamber released at the same time?
An Angelos? Nice. Yeah, sure. No, because like we don't need more of that crap. We like keep you're fine. You're fine. Let's make 2019 the year without a full-fledged Stormcast release.
Do you think that we're far enough into the release cycles that they like had received the Stormcast feedback by this time, and they're like, maybe we need to dial back the Stormcast releases?
I don't think they've received negative feedback on the Stormcast releases. I think if you think that, you don't understand how companies make decisions.
Sure, indeed.
Because like you yourself might be sitting there going, I agree with you, Vince. We shouldn't have any new Stormcast this year. I am sick of them. Well, congratulations, and I'm glad you agree with me. Unfortunately, that's not how this works, folks. Right. How this works is they look across the empire and go, man, we sold like just mountains of those sacrosanct chamber models, just all of them. They made us all the money. Quick, print more money, right? Like, so sorry, that's how these decisions get made, guys. You know, I'm not saying you can't like put your thumb on the scale some by making your opinion heard. I'm sure they take that into account. But if the opinion is, well, 10% of the people really hate these, but 60% of the people, and like, 30% are neutral, and 60% of the people went and bought the crap out of these models, well, you're going to get more of those things. And
so I'm hearing you say we have more Stormcast coming.
I'm hoping it doesn't. I don't think you need one this year. I really don't. Like, we don't need a Stormcast release every year. So I think, and like, we just had a really big reset. I mean, we'll see like a hero or something like we always, like we always do. There's always more Stormcast heroes to be had, right?
Will it be a named hero? Do you think we'll get some named non-Hammers heroes?
Yes. There you go. Let's plant a flag. Yes, there will be 2 new named Stormcast heroes, neither of which will be Hammers of Sigmar.
And what factions do you think we will see heroes for?
The silver guys and the green guys.
Yes. So the Hallowed Knights, which are the silver guys, and the Celestial Vindicators, which are the green guys. Yeah. I agree. I think that those are the 2 chambers we will see new heroes for.
Yes. And to answer that question and everything else, I am convinced you will not see Fallen Stormcast anytime soon. So somebody asked this, like I think Steve just asked this in the comments. I am convinced you will not see this anytime soon.
So Deathcast Eternals, they're out. They were a rumor that we anticipated last year.
I'm saying that idea is dead. If they didn't do it in this turn, right, when they had this great opportunity,
right,
okay, knowing that they're trying to avoid the Horus Heresy thing, right? Like they don't want to push them into chaos because then it's just Horus Heresy all over again.
Right,
same crap, and they're trying to avoid that. They had the chance to do a slightly different thing and take them into death, right?
Yep.
With the thing of Nagash, with this entire arc. If that didn't happen here, it ain't happening. So no, Stormcast are just.
You don't think they're going to stretch it out?
I'm saying for now, like on a 3 to 5 year timeline.
Yeah, sure. Like we could return to this on the next Death release, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, like I don't know what happens in 2022. Okay,
Right.
like is my point. Like what I'm saying is over this current iterative cycle, that's done.
Right.
Right? What you'll see, if you see anything, is the
Yeah.
opposite. Okay.
Okay.
Like they'll subvert your expectations by pulling the opposite trick.
Okay.
They'll have a bunch of chaos people redeemed, like Torglug. That would be a fun trick. Like a mass exodus would be a cool thing to do. Like it wouldn't be this year, but like imagine in 2020 if you got kind of a gold faction through a chaos force going redeemed, and it could be flipped and played as either chaos or order based on whether you were playing it pre or post redemption. Like Sigmar reaches out and like an entire thing turns. Right.
Right. Well, I think the answer to that, if you were to do that, is on the other side of this like chaos slaves to darkness.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where you have a human, maybe barbarian tribe, and the whole tribe converts.
Sure. I don't know what that is exactly. I don't know what it looks like. But my point is there's your fun opportunity to do that. Right. It'd have to be like the non sort of just standard chaos warrior crap because those people are too far gone.
Right.
As it were.
Well, hence the barbarian tribe. Yeah.
Right. And like that would be a different way to spin that story. Yeah. It'd still show the same kind of thing. It'd be relatively interesting because you would get that gold play out of it. By the way, this is not a 2019 call. If anything, this is a 2020 call, right? At that point in the narrative, I just think it'd be a fun thing to do. So there you go. Okay. So what's our next prediction, Tom? What else do we got?
I think that we see in Q3 or Q4, I think we see the launch of a true Mordheim successor.
Wow. So you're calling it 2019 Mordheim relaunches.
Yes, it won't be called Mordheim, obviously. Mm-hmm. But I think that the work of Bottle, of Sam, who had been hired. I think that what we're seeing, by the way, in this skirmish rules launch for this White Dwarf this month, I think that is a like a testing the waters.
Okay.
And I think that we are going to see a true.
Isn't this just going to be Kill Team?
Yes, I think it is. But that's what I'm saying. Like I think that
we're the framing for it. Like it's not going to be Mordheim as much as it's going to be Kill Team.
Right. It will be Kill Team. Yes.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. Like it'll be a year basically after Kill Team's launch. So Q3, Q4. Yeah. Kill Team is gangbusters. Let's do this for AOS, and that's where we'll be.
Yeah, I mean it's been like beyond successful. Like It is hard to encapsulate how successful Kill Team has been for them. Right. It is like the gatewayest drug of gateway drugs. Number one. Number two, it's easy for people who already have armies to just pick up and play with a Kill Team. Number three, it's an incredibly low inroad commitment for people who want to pick stuff up. Number four, they've been able to do those like starter box sets, which let's move beyond for a moment the sort of like minor controversy over the unique stratagems that come in those. Those have been quite popular, right?
Yeah.
Because like they're again an easy way for people to pick up new stuff and terrain and all that.
Yep.
So like doing it as AOS Kill Team.
Yep.
Where you still have like they wouldn't be called specialisms, but you'd have that same concept.
You like character classes?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I'm not sure what you pull on there, but I don't know. I'd have to think about it. I haven't thought about what the specialism equivalent is. There's going to be something like that, right? Yeah. And levels and blasey, blah. And honestly, if you wanted to do it, I would say like my hope would be they use a lot of the same sort of rules nuances because I do like a lot of the stuff that's in Kill Team.
You're saying like the ranged attack alternation and like activation stuff.
Yep. Like the alternating activation and sort of the nature of flesh wounds, which is classic Mordheim crap anyways, right? And go with that and just keep it simple, have the different ways to play. I think you can even follow the same track and eventually add a commander option. Great, cool. That's fine too. Where you can like play with it on or off.
Yep. It writes itself.
Yeah, exactly. Like it should be so easy. And again, it should just be like, oh, good. Let's just print some more money.
Yep.
right? Because it shouldn't require a huge amount of support. And like, I would play the living crap out of that. Okay. Yeah. Like super duper, I would.
Yep.
Because I mean, traditionally, like when it's been a while since I've got a lot of Mordheim games in, but traditionally when we had our Mordheim leagues going, man, we were playing like just 5-6 games in a day, easy, right? Because so like that kind of thing would be exactly where I'd want to go.
Yeah. So that and not only that, like you have this thing pre-built with the Shadespire warbands.
Sure, because they would just create like let's just call this AOS kill team. They would just create the named kill team rules for them, just like they did for like the stuff in Blackstone.
And now talking about like cross promotional stuff. Now it literally it writes itself. Like they're already selling these boxes in Shadespire warbands.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's just it, when you get these like now when you get this stuff, things like when they release things like a boxed set or a boxed game, right? Like they did with Blackstone Fortress. You can then like let's imagine a world where AOS Kill Team exists, right?
Yeah.
When they put it out, they could literally put out the rules for that, for like Warhammer Quest with that stuff, or like Kill Team with that stuff, and the AOS rules for that stuff, and or the Shadespire rules for that stuff, all of which as appropriate, right? Yep. And so they just keep letting you use these little tiny things to just get in each other's stuff. And I'll share a quick story. Do you know why I started playing 40K way back in the day? Do you know what got me onto 40K?
You were playing demons?
No, I was not. I hadn't picked up a demon army yet. It was Schaefer's Last Chancers. So Schaefer's Last Chancers was this special Imperial Guard unit they put out. It was like a dozen named characters, like unique characters. Okay. And it had all these little special scenarios you can run. They were like kind of A-teamy and all tropey. It was, Dirty Dozen and all this kind of stuff. And so I picked up Schaefer's Last Chancers and I played them in some scenarios against my buddy's normal 40K army. Because that was literally the idea. Like the other person plays 1,000-point army and you have 12 models. And you play a scenario. Okay. But you had like 12 special characters.
Yeah.
And I did that for a while until it got old. And then I went out and bought a whole Imperial Guard army. Right. And that's how that happened.
Sure.
So, my point is it's a pretty good strategy. It worked on me once. It's going to work on other people again.
Yeah.
Okay. What else we got? What's our other predictions?
I don't know.
All right. So, do we see any other updated forces coming this year? Any other things that people have been kind of blind to, rules-wise?
Blind to rules-wise.
Like rumor-wise. You know what I mean? Like, is there anything else out there that you think is teed up for the hotness to suddenly explode out there? Like, are they going to give us a Wanderer's Tome? Is that ever happening?
No.
How about a unified Dispossessed or a dwarf thing?
I don't know. That's the only one that I think that could slip into the Fireslayer Tome. Is like it's a Fireslayer Tome that dips into Dispossessed and KO. I could see something like that. I could see. Trying to think of like the if we could get a human, like a Free Peoples update.
Sure, like that's the other big question, right? What happens with humies?
Yeah, like a merged Free Peoples would be my other big question.
Yeah, my answer is no. Okay, so my prediction. Well, you can do negative predictions too, right?
Right.
My prediction is no Free Guild or Yumi good guy updates in 2019.
Okay.
I think you're going to see the bad Yumi updates in this, sort of like aforementioned Ever-Chosen Dark Oath Marauder thing. Right. And I think that'll be your Yumis for the year. And I think that now, as you pivot to 2020, if I had to look even farther into the future, that I think is when we get a totally new force. They're going to like. My guess is it took them a while to crack the code on what they wanted to do with a really unique and interesting human force, and they probably didn't get it till like 2016, 2017, which means it comes out next year, right? Now, like 2020,
right?
Given the cycle of these things, and I think that's when you see the big good guy Humi release.
Yeah, maybe I can see that.
And like I've seen a lot of people asking about the Cog Fort thing.
Yep.
I don't see it. I think it stays like just something narrative. It's too much. I don't know. I can't picture it.
And it seems like it like really plays in KO space as well.
Well, I mean, maybe you get a new KO book in there. 2019 prediction, new Kharadron Overlords book. You're getting a re-release, Tom. Congratulations.
You really think so?
I do. I really do. That's not a joke prediction. I think you will see.
Do you think it'll just be a book, or do you think there'll be kits in there?
Just a book. Nope, just the book. You're just going to get a re-release book. You're just going to get a book.
I don't know, man. What leads you to believe that?
I think that there's going to be several re-releases of old things this year. Just, sort of book updates, right?
Yep.
To sort of clean up in AOS 2 years.
We've talked about that.
Right? So if we agree with that, we have this giant hole right now. Okay, this big problem. And the problem, thy name is Kharadron Overlords. Because they have this incredibly unique and flavorful and interesting original army. And it's a loser. Right? Not just because the rules are bad, but because the book is bad. It's incomprehensible. Everything's all spread out over 100 places. It has a bad reputation. But if you reform it, right? If you make it something interesting, if you do a splash release around it, and if you talk about and you do something cool with it, you can suddenly mobilize all those kits. All those kits are relatively new.
Right.
Right? Those are not old kits.
Right.
And that's a lot of stock that they'd love to do something with. And they're a book away from being able to just turn that into something fun and interesting and get people hyped for that again. It has a unique look. People want to play it.
I agree.
A lot of models. Okay.
I agree. People want to play that. So is this maybe why I've had a finished article for my KO army at the community team since August? In my article, it hasn't showed up yet. Photos and everything. Is it waiting for this new to be teamed up with this new hype machine that they're going to generate?
I don't know, man. Look, then somebody asked, like, do we have the sales numbers? No. But one of the kits did end up on like the top kits of the year, like one of the chips did.
Yeah.
Which generally is driven by sales numbers. So that's a point in that favor. They've said that the strongest sales generally correlate to completely new figure releases. The more new kits that come out, the stronger it correlates to high sales. This was, in general was pretty popular. Like, I'm just reading the temperature of the thing. Now, overall, do I know for sure it sold? Like, how does it sell versus Daughters of Cain or something like this? I have no idea. But my perception of the thing anecdotally was that it sold quite well when it came out.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. Yep.
So my argument would be it's an easy way to turn a frown upside down. Okay? That mobilizes, like, what you always want to do when you're selling something is find a way to capitalize on stock you already have. Right? Like, that's it. If you've already got a winner and it only needs a minor reformation, that's such a shorter walk than a completely new product line.
Yep.
And so to me, if they're going to go to the trouble to do this crap with like Fire Slayers and Iron Jaws and all the rest of this junk, why wouldn't you also do it for that?
Well, not only that, we know that they have a Shadespire warband coming.
Okay.
A KO. And like this prints those rules in their book. Does that make sense? So that like this can get partnered with or in the vicinity of that Shadespire drop as well.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, to me, it's the easy answer. It just is. Right? Like just do it. 3, 2, 1, do it. Okay, great. So we all agree. New KO book 2019. There you go.
Well, if that's the case, that will make my stuff suitably my expenditures for the year suitably lower.
You'll have all sorts of options come the if a new Fire Slayers book and a KO book came out and you got this goblin thing, Tom, you're gonna have an unusual problem. You'll have too many armies to choose from.
Well, and the funny thing is that I would go back to my I thought about, like, even without an actual update to Fire Slayer book, I thought about expanding my Fire Slayer army because I enjoyed painting the Fire Slayer models. And I would love to play my KO again. Like all of that, yes. I would probably jump back to that without skipping a beat.
Sure. So I want to answer a question that came up in the comments just real quickly. Like somebody had asked, about Warhammer now, as a person said they haven't played basically since 6th edition, and how is it right now? My honest answer to you, as someone who's played since 4th edition, take this as my personal opinion only. Okay, I started playing 4th edition, played more or less continuously, with some periods of like years off where I only got like a game or two in, but more or less in the interim period. I have never had more fun. I have never felt a stronger community. I have never had a better time, enjoyed the product releases, and enjoyed everything about the game more than I do right now. I have never seen more armies be viable. I have never seen tournaments with more excited, happy attendance. I have never seen the game in such a wonderful place as it is right now, and I have certainly never seen Games Workshop act like they do right now in how they communicate and how everything is. So, I mean, my big prediction for 2019, on top of this, like here's sort of the non-specific product, prediction, is this game continues to grow, like in a really amazing way. When you look at how Adepticon sold out in, hit its cap and expand, and is still screaming for expansion spaces, and it hit that cap in what, hour and 10 minutes?
Yeah, something like that.
70 minutes to sell out a 200-person tournament, roughly. When you look at CanCon coming up here shortly, clocking in at 220 in Australia, right?
Yep.
And on and on and on and on and on, right? So the tournament scene is not indicative of the overall health of the game. You can have a highly successful game with an atrophied tournament scene, but I would argue that both are moving in tandem right now. So my big prediction for 2019 is I do think the game will continue to grow. I think GW has been doing better and better over these years. They're learning. They're putting out better stuff, better communication, better reveals. For the most part, they've had a couple duds but this time they did it right. They're back on the horse here, so that's okay. Everybody, why do we fall down, Mr. Wayne? It's just so we can pick ourselves back up again.
Not only that, let's put a pin on this though. But at the same time, look at their turnaround. Like, we're talking about them potentially re-releasing and fixing a botched book within 2 years.
Right, if that comes to pass. Yeah. Well, and they have already done that with some. Right? Like with other books that needed updating. So it's not like we haven't got this yet. Right? Like Korn spun out a new book pretty fast, right? Remember that? Right. Remember they had a different book?
Yep.
Okay. So this has been happening. It's not beyond the pale to say that it wouldn't even be the first time it happened. We're just assuming they're doing the rest of the cleanup, right?
We are far and away quite a distance from the days of 10-year cycle book updates.
Yeah, sure. The 5 years for the if you're one of the chosen ones, right. And 10 years if you're not. Yeah, I mean it's just such a different world. And I see no reason why this doesn't continue to build. They are steering the ship well. They have good people. They're communicating well. They're releasing great products. They have
a wonderful playtest team that's actually giving good feedback.
Yeah. The integration of the playtest team that I credit a lot with doing a lot to steer the ship. That's not an insult to anybody at GW. That's only meaning that I credit the playtesters for giving a lot of good feedback and helping to guide this, because it is an outside perspective, and that is highly valuable. At the same time, like, I look at the sweep and scope of this stuff, and I don't see any reason why this would abate. Right. There's no, like,
we have nothing to slow our momentum.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, sure, they could screw a release. Like, that could always happen. It's not like I think they show up and pitch a perfect game every time. Right. But I think that when we look at the hit miss ratio, it has been so crazy tilted towards hits recently. And a notable thing is, if you look at both, like, I look over the past year or so. So recently, with both the Voxcast and Stormcast podcast, they interviewed, like, painters and designers of miniatures.
Right.
I went to a talk with the heavy metal painters last year, and the, like, constant refrain is that they all are excited about the stuff that they're painting that we'll see in 2019 and 2020, and they think it's the coolest stuff they've ever painted.
Right.
Now, some of that's 40K stuff, right? I'm not saying it's all AOS. I'm saying that, like, as a company, they're killing it. And to have all of your painters universally said, like Darren Latham in the Voxcast thing, the guy asked him, "What's your favorite model ever?" This is a guy who's been in it for almost 30 years, 25 years, right?
Yep.
Who was a heavy metal painter for 10 years, who designs miniatures.
Yep.
And his answer was, "My favorite model ever is one that isn't released yet, that I just got a chance to see painted. I can't talk about it."
Right.
That's an incredible world to live in. Because he has a lot of really favorite models he loves over history, and for the best to still be ahead of him, right? For them to still be topping it says so much.
Yep.
Right.
It does.
So there you go. I mean, I think my big prediction is just I don't see any bust in the head. We're riding the boom right now. The bust will come eventually, but I don't think it's in 2019. I know how these cycles go. But I don't think it's a 2019 thing. So that's fine. There you go.
So bye is what Vince just said.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. Where's my Jim Cramer thing? Like,
and to be fair, for those, if you're just kind of dropping in, you haven't been a part of the community. Like, we are not GW spokespeople. We're not paid by GW. We're not provided product. We have no exclusive information from them, no exclusive rights. So, like, we're talking and promoting and acknowledging how well they are doing because we believe that, not because we're incentivized to do that in any way.
Yeah. I mean, it's just keep making great stuff, and I'll keep wanting to do this. Like, I've been more excited about these models that have come out recently. And, like, I cannot explain to you how bad I want that new Keeper Secrets. I cannot explain to you. This, like,
I have an idea.
Will be my greatest hobby year. I have never looked forward to a year of things I know are coming. Because, like, I know there's a new Keeper coming this year. And I know the Sisters of Battle are coming this year, because these are all things that are just sort of either been said or are obvious.
Right.
I can't think of a year I've been more excited. For what's happening. If this year does close out with Angel Elves, heads up, gonna have to accidentally buy my first Elvish army ever, because you know how I am with that.
I know how you are with Angels, indeed. What I will say is this: for those that have been longtime viewers, you'll know that I don't mince words with regard to GW. If I don't agree with,
like, part of the reason we don't get any free product or anything, which is fine,
right? And why Vince will likely never be voted Warhammer hero is because of my presence on this show. No,
that's nonsense. I don't care about it. Like, that's all. I hope I never get voted because I don't deserve it. That's the reason why.
Stop it. Anyways, by the way, a quick plug for those of you, the submissions for Warhammer Heroes are coming up. Do that. Find somebody, promote folks that have made a difference in your hobby. I think you should vote for Vince, but that's just me. He won't get it. He won't get it, so you're wasting your vote. But I think he is worth promoting. That said, I have no problem being critical of GW when I feel like they have dropped the ball on something. That said, they're doing really well.
Yeah.
And they need to be acknowledged in kudos. And like as we said with this Grot release, like they knocked it out of the park.
Yep. I really do believe this was the best year ever, and I can't wait to see what next year is going to bring, because I think I'll look back when we do this show next December. Yep. I really get the distinct feeling we're going to be looking back going, holy crap.
Yeah.
Right? Like this has been a mind-boggling year.
Indeed.
So there you go. Anything else we want to so let's close out with some resolutions here, Tom. What are your personal resolutions for 2019? What do you got? Do you want me to start? Because I have several already.
I want to paint less models.
Paint less models. I don't know what that means. Does that mean you're going to try to work harder on individual, like you're trying to take stuff to a higher standard, or what's? Unpack that for me. Most people don't ever say I want to paint less.
Yeah. Like I don't know. Like my last 2 years have been pretty hobby intensive. Like
no, what I really love is everybody correcting you to say it's fewer models, Tom.
Oh Jesus. Thanks folks. I want to paint fewer models. Like they've been hobby intensive years. Between my dwarf army, where I did like, I don't know, 150 models in a fairly short amount of time to pretty high quality, including a very large board. And then likewise, I mean, my Daughters of Cain is going to be also up there in model count, a large skin army. Like I don't want to take, I know this sounds really ridiculous. I don't want to take on an entirely new army.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Like, I don't like, I know that's a very weird statement to
make. What's gonna, so I can't wait for you to break this resolution.
And I will. Like, yeah, like, and that's fine. Like, I not acknowledge that I probably
counting goblins as a new army, because you already have a huge part of that done. So you can add to this course.
Right, like goblins and like finish my daughters, do some goblins maybe, go back and do some of my dwarves. But like, I don't want to start a new army. Now, if high elves drop, all bets are off.
Yeah.
Like,
well, here's the thing, Tom.
Yeah.
If high elves drop, then we already have our holy, whatever, we have our team event thing in 2020 already locked.
Oh yeah, that next year. Yeah, we'll do dual angel.
Dual
elves.
Angel elves. Yeah.
Yeah,
that'll happen immediately.
Yeah, the big question is what is the team pairing for this next year? That's the real problem.
You better find somebody that wants to get down with depravity, homie, because it's time. You better find somebody who you better find somebody who's really into getting freaky, because that's what the partnership's going to be. This is the year of Slaanesh for me, homie.
Yeah, I know. Like, I could bring the shrooms for the party. Bring the psychedelic drugs.
Sounds good. I have no problem. Look, we just showed the picture that shows this was aligned, so it clearly works.
Like, and if you remember my spider fang is purple and pink.
It all works. See? It was what is this? But what could this be but destiny? There you go. All right.
Bringing the drugs.
No, I mean, it's sex and drugs go pretty well together historically. It's a good combo. It's a popular traditional combo. I'm not sure if you've heard of it, but it works well together. It is the peas and carrots of the world of sin.
So all I'm hearing you say is that we need some rock and roll.
Well, I did get that Noise Marine, by the way. So I did pick him up because I couldn't help myself. So I do have him somewhere. I think he's up on the shelf now. The other thing I got, so I didn't mention this earlier, but the other thing I picked up was I picked up some Varangard, which I'm going to make into Slaanesh
really?
Varangard. Yeah. That was my Christmas ask, because it was like, I wouldn't buy Varangard for myself, but I was like, that seems like a really cool Christmas gift. My wife also got me a Soul Grinder, which was a really funny random thing to get. And so I'm very excited about that, because I'll make a Slaanesh Soul Grinder. And yeah, so I like random stuff. And I'm all in on Slaanesh Varangard. I'm just betting on this Ever Chosen rewrite thing so I can use them.
I don't know. I could do my daughters again.
What's that? Oh, run them.
Right.
Sure. All right. So my resolutions. 1. Here you go. Ready?
Yep.
1. Finish reformatting this army, like refitting it. Like I got a lot to do here in front of me. It's going to be a couple months of work, but I'm pretty excited about it. I'm excited that I've already got that. Like I'm going in and retouching this stuff, taking it up to this level. I want to have fun with it. And you know, I'm excited to already have it starting.
Yep.
So I want to get that done. Get the Slanesh in line. Get those new things. And the Soul Grinder will be converted, by the way, obviously. I'm not going to use the dumb, like, monster body that looks ugly. Like, obviously.
Oh, no. I hope you use one of the, like, creature caster girls or whatever torsos.
Yeah, put a different torso on it. Yeah, exactly. So there's a lot of good options. You could also put a bust of the right size on it.
Oh, yeah, that'd be a good idea.
Right? Especially if the bust has no arms. Because you just literally use, like, the bust and then you attach the demon arms. To the end of the bust. So that's kind of a funny thing I realized. Anywho, I want to get the Sisters of Battle Force together when that comes up.
Yep.
I know I'm going to go. I'm teaching at least 6 times, doing 6 weekend classes. By the way, if anybody's still interested, I think there's a few slots left in the Philadelphia class on February 16th and 17th. You can go to CK Studios. I'll link it if you want to sign up and join me for that weekend. We're going to do the display painting for Night Titans, but you'll learn a lot of techniques in there that are really good. That'll be a fun class. And I've got another one coming up in Dallas. I'm doing one in the UK, and then maybe there's a couple others later in the year in the second half.
Okay.
So I'm excited about all that. That's my resolution. Teach more. I want to teach more. I really, really love it. It's a lot of fun. So I'm excited to do it more this year.
Okay. I have a couple.
Right.
I am not going to get waitlisted at key events anymore.
You're going to be responsible and sign up.
So I will not be waitlisted for Adepticon next year. And I want to play more just in general, particularly my local scene. Like I have not been as proactive in my local scene as I could be. So I think I want to do that a little bit more. And I want to do another event this year, and I don't know which one that's going to be. So
there are many good choices.
I know. Like I'd love to do Nova. I might end up at Gen Con. I don't know. We'll see.
All right.
So
yeah, no, that's good. That's good. I'm trying to think. I think that's probably most of my resolutions. Get them sisters done. Get Slanesh done. Those are my 2 armies for this year. It's an unusual 2 army year. Like I would just assume the elves would be a 2020 thing if they come out at the end of the year, so I don't have to worry about that. And other than that, a lot of competition pieces. I've got some big ones I want to work on. Some big fun stuff. But, keep painting more and more, pushing myself, trying to achieve more and better things. I'm signed up for a couple classes I'm very excited for with some artists that I really enjoy to learn from them. So I'm really excited about that. I'm doing a class with Richard Gray at Adepticon, and I'm signed up for Sergio's class in April in Indianapolis. So I'm looking forward to that. Just lots of fun things, lots of learning, lots of teaching, more sharing and building of fun armies and painting of fun pieces. So yeah, there you go. Continue to build that. And I shall meet the greatest challenge that I have in 2019, a thing that has weighed heavily on my mind, a challenge that I am not sure if I can overcome. This may be the unclimbable wall, the immovable object.
You want a gold demon?
No, I did that. I'd like to go back there and do better. I'll probably go back there and win nothing. That's usually how it would go. And that's fine. If that happens, I'm not going to be sad about that. Like I'm putting my absolute best into going there and competing. But if I don't walk away with anything, I'm not like, I'll be upset, but I'll not that upset about it because, I will know I gave 100%. No, here is the unclimbable wall. You ready?
Yep.
I need another case, another display case in my room because these are going to be all full and I'm out of space. I don't know where I have nowhere left to put it.
Could you expand your storage stuff into the other room?
I mean, I guess. I mean,
like these are display cases, but like some of that is like armies, like play armies. They're not turn around to your left. Okay, not like your display painting stuff, but to your left, Vince, is like your Tomb Kings and Skaven.
Over here.
Yeah. Those are non-display armies. Those are just playing armies.
Yeah, sure.
Could they move out into the play area?
Maybe. I mean, I don't know.
And then you put trophies
being in my office. This is a great challenge.
I know, Vince, that like from a trophy standpoint, you're running out of space. Like I get that.
That's not what I'm saying. It's army space. I got a trophy room. That's fine. You can make trophy room pretty easy. They don't take up a lot of space. One piece and one trophy aren't that space consuming. Okay, an army takes up space. So, but at any rate, no, that's my fun joke challenge for 2019. I seriously have been sitting here staring at my room, going, I don't know where I'm sticking another thing. So, because the Slaanesh thing is it's gonna pop off. I'm gonna have a ton of stuff. Don't know where to go, and somebody else has got to go. You're out. I was like thinking about it, like, all right, Stormcast, you're getting demoted back to some other place so I can stick.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, your Stormcast, like, there are a number of armies that you have in there that are playing armies that are not, like, display things, that don't have awards associated with them, that don't have... And so, like, that stuff just has to go out to the play area. Like, you have shelves and shelves and shelves out in the play area, and just move that out there. Look, sure. I just solved it for you.
I don't want to... It has to go in a sealed case, though. I still don't like things getting dusty. That is a really good point. That is a goal. At some point, I'm going back over there. I'm going back to Warhammer TV, and I'm getting my freaking dice. There's a resolution for this year, since I'll be over there for one of those contests. I'm coming for my dice. Everybody else who played on the stream got dice. I got no dice. I'm getting my dice this time.
I thought about maybe trying to get over to an event across this pond.
Sure.
But I'm just going to go for any new event in my lineup, and if I can get across, either there or do an Australia event, I'd love to do that.
Well, if you want to come to the UK with me one time, Tom, you're more than welcome to. But you're going to have to take your own transportation or whatever, because I don't wait in the long customs line, and you will have to, and that's like an hour-and-a-half project. So
right, I understand.
Do it yourself.
Yeah. No, I thought about doing CanCon for 2020.
Oh, sure. That'd be awesome. I'd love to go down to Australia. But there you go. Sounds like a 2020 resolution plan. Let's start talking about it now. All right. So with that, I think is that all our resolutions? Probably so.
I think so.
Everybody else, what are your hobby resolutions? Drop them in the comments. I hope that I really do think this is going to be an amazing year. I'm very excited about it. I've never been more excited to be staring at like 70 infantry models. That should show you how much I love Slaanesh and how excited I am about this current project. So,
insanity.
Wasn't like that with the Witch Elves, and I love that army too. But here we are. At any rate, thank you all for watching. Thank you all for an amazing 2018. I'm so glad we got to close out the year with this awesome Goblin reveal and with all this. This was super fun. I look forward to the tropical island firebelly, fire-breathing voodoo.
You heard it here first.
That's good Lord. If that ended up being true, that would be the called shot of the century. If that was like, that is blindfolded behind the back 2 ricochets. That is like a bullseye level accuracy if you pull that off.
I mean, I mean, like, I know I've flouted this before, but I did call the Witch Elf led Marathi force, like in week 1 of AOS.
Yeah,
like that happened.
That isn't as long of a call, Tom, as Voodoo Caribbean Firebelly ogres.
Okay,
I'm just saying. But either way, I hope you're right. I think that would be amazing.
GW designers, I'm in your head.
That's right. All right. So for all of you out there, we thank you very much for watching. We certainly appreciate it. And next time we see you, hey, guess what? It'll be 2019. So as always, we'll see you next Wednesday.